Regularly scheduled programming will not be seen at this time, so that we may bring you the following ABC Sports exclusive.
From Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, it's the Minnesota Vikings against the defending Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys. This is the second of 4 NFL specials on ABC. The other 3 on Sunday nights. One has already taken place. That one, New England's thrilling last-second victory over the Oakland Raiders. Tonight's game, clearly a key game involving key personnel. The Minnesota Vikings, led as always by their redoubtable quarterback, that man, Francis Tarkenton. But the Vikes are struggling at 4-4. Unexpected losses to New Orleans and Tampa Bay. Signs of resurgence last week against Green Bay. And Dallas, led as always by their versatile and athletic quarterback, Roger Staubach, at 6-2. But struggling too, if you look at their game-by-game record, 2 close wins against St. Louis. Always, Dallas has that man, Tony Dorsett, the Heisman Trophy winner from Pitt. But Dorsett this year with troubles on and off the field. Benched last Sunday by Coach Tom Landry. Back tonight, here are Landry and Tony Dorsett.
Tom, because the incident is so recent, just this past Sunday, would you explain to the public why it was necessary to bench Tony Dorsett?
Well, basically, he missed practice on Saturday, and it wasn't so much the missing of practice because players, they occasionally miss practice, but he didn't report the incident to us. We couldn't get in touch with him, and therefore it was a disruptive thing on our football team, and for that reason, it was the best interest of the club that we did it.
Tony, after you missed practice last Saturday, the coach benched you on Sunday against the Eagles. You later stated you were publicly humiliated. Your family had gone a great distance to see you play. After that, what did you do, because you're going to be starting tonight?
Well, Howard, the main thing I did, I think, was I came back this week, and I came in with the right attitude. I didn't come in holding any grudges against Coach or any of the players or anyone in the whole organization. I came in with the attitude that I wanted to play football again. I came in, I worked hard. I come into a meeting, I think I surprised everyone, the players and the coaches, by apologizing for what I did, because it wasn't an intentional thing. It was just something that happened, and I was sorry that it happened to myself, but I feel that it was part of life, it was part of growth, and maybe it was something healthy for me as far as my future is concerned.
20 seconds to air. Stand by, all cameras. Stand by in videotape. Stand by slow-mo. Stand by to open your mics on the field. Stand by in graphics. Ready with your opening supers. Stand by the announcers in the booth, please. And roll tape. 3, 2, 1. Take tape.
Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, a special Thursday edition of ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. The Minnesota Vikings against the Dallas Cowboys. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Datsun, who invite you to experience the performance, quality, and luxury of the all-new 280ZX at your Datsun dealer now. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Hello again, everyone. 2 perennial powers in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, the Minnesota Vikings. But as we quickly developed at the very opening, 2 teams not playing up to their expected abilities, expected before the season began. Nonetheless, here they are, and they always put on a great and a tough competitive game. We expect the same thing tonight. In line with the fact that we developed A, the key personnel, B, the Dorsett issue of the recent weekend earlier. Now it's time to continue the storyline, the contrasting strategies of the opposition quarterbacks. Frank Gifford and Don Meredith spoke with each of them earlier.
Fran, if anyone knows the Dallas Cowboys, you do, although you didn't play in the NFC Championship game last year. Your team is not running the ball well. You're going to have to throw. The Cowboys know you're going for it.
We're going to throw. We're 28th in the league out of 28 teams in the rush. We're playing a team that's perennially been one of the top teams against the rush in football. There's no question we're going to throw the ball. We're going to throw on first down, second down, and third down. Dallas, I don't think we'll get into the flex defense, which is a run defense against us. I think they'll come with their four-man line and strap their ears back and come after us, but we're going to have to control the ball with the pass. However, I think we're going to run the ball some against them.
Do you feel that you'll be able to run against Minnesota? That seems to be one of the criticisms of the overall offense, that you haven't been able to establish the running game.
I think that's a critical thing for us to run against Minnesota. They play the zone very well. They sit back there. They're experienced. If you get behind and you have to start throwing, it's pretty tough. But if you get the running game going, we can use the things we do well, the play action passes and throw the football. So running is a major priority against Minnesota, against any team. But our running game has been off, and Tony needs to have a good night. So running is very important to us tonight.
Okay, that's the nub of the matter. They met in the playoffs. Dallas 23, the Vikings 6. What to look for tonight, established by the respective interviews of the Gipper and of Dandy Dunn with the opposition quarterbacks. We'll be back in a moment.
Hallelujah. A totally new C-car. The new Datsun 280CX. Our road-hugging, heart-pounding, hood-soaring, deck-sloping, fuel-injected masterpiece. Our new CX is awesome. We
You want to start something?
Darling, you want to start something.
You want to start something? Start using Rayovac alkaline energy cells, the finest battery Rayovac makes. No ordinary battery can last as long as our alkaline energy cell. In fact, one Rayovac alkaline can last up to 8 times longer than an ordinary battery. So if you want to start something, start using Rayovac alkaline.
get something started with Rayovac.
When you farm your own land, the work never ends. But you do it with pride and all the strength you can muster. But now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best-tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear. Beer after beer. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer.
A sellout crowd in Texas Stadium, just outside of Dallas, Irving, Texas. The Dallas Cowboys, the Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys, against the Minnesota Vikings. A look at Roger Staubach. I talked with him earlier this evening. Roger Staubach having a good year. He's playing a little beat up tonight. He's wearing some rib pads. He has a bruise on his chest, a bruise on his leg. I suggested that might be the years. He said, no, I feel better than I did when I was a kid. Speaking of kids, here is a perennial kid, Fran Tarkenton, into his 19th year every time he throws a football. He sets an NFL record, 39 touchdown passes, over 300 touchdown passes. But Fran has turned it around since that third game, and so many people were washing him up. He had a big game against the Minnesota Vikings, about the Green Bay Packers last week, 3 touchdown passes, and he feels that tonight, you heard it in the interview, he's going to have to throw the ball. This is a team that is probably they have the worst rushing record in the entire NFL, so they know they have to throw the ball. Cowboys have won the toss. They'll receive to your left. Butch Johnson, number 86, is deep. He's back there with Larry Brinson, number 36. And it will kick off. Rick Danmeyer. He's not all that long on the kickoffs. The Vikings, a little over a week ago, released an 8th-round draft pick that they had, Mike Wood. He could kick it all off very well, but he wasn't punting that well. So Rick Danmeyer is now kicking off for the Vikings, and we're set to get underway. Critical game for both teams. The 4-4 Vikings trailing the Green Bay Packers. The 6-2 Cowboys tied to the Washington Redskins. And this is Larry Brinson. He bobbles the ball. And a big scramble for it. And Minnesota trying to come up with it. Number 45, that's Tom Hannon. And Tom Hannon gives the Minnesota Vikings a big break. Brinson lost the handle, and the Vikings will have a 1st and 10. They'll be at the 28-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys.
Couldn't have asked for a bigger break this early in the game. In the meantime, as a general premise, look for Minnesota to show differing formations tonight to try to provide a new offensive look, and you'll see a lot of people in motion. Frank will develop this general premise as Minnesota seeks to confuse the Dallas computerized defense.
And Dallas, of course, knows full well Minnesota can't run the ball. They'll just turn them loose and go for the quarterback. Tarkenton, as he said, on first down, going out to the flat is Bob Tucker, and Tucker turns upfield, gets close to the 22-yard line, a gain of about 7. It's going to be 2nd down and 3. Bob Tucker has not, as we look at the front four of the Dallas Cowboys, and they're a rather healthy group, that group right there. The man trying to go, Harvey Martin with a knee brace at right end. We'll talk about that a little later. You saw the linebackers. They're quick. They're good. They read well. And the defensive secondary, that is a very strong secondary. The Dallas Cowboys, #1 in the NFL on offense. Not too far back of that on defense. Nevertheless, tied in their division with Washington at 6-2. 2nd down, long 3. Chuck Foreman, right side, gets inside the 20, close to a 1st down. And Chuck Foreman is also playing hurt.
He really is. In fact, it's affected him emotionally, according to the people who run the Vikings organization. He's always had the ability to play hurt, but suddenly, in our Monday night game against Chicago, he got a double hurt, the knee and the ankle both, and it got to him, and that's part of his problem this year.
And, of course, Fran likes to throw to his backs. The leading receiver in the NFL is Ricky Young, the other setback in there with Foreman, number 34. And you're going to see just how much Minnesota will need for their 1st down. Just inches. And Francis signals to the sidelines, not to Coach Bud Grant. He wanted to bring in his 2 tight ends. That would be number 83 and 84. Boyd is 83. Steve Craig is 84. Short yardage offense, and Fran is not above play action and throwing the ball in a situation like this.
I think particularly since it's such a short distance to go for that 1st down, you're right. But I think if it were a yard or two, based on the performance of the offense, ability to rush, the Fran would probably go ahead and try to stick it in there. I think he'll do it again, though, Frank, to try to get that 1st down and get 7 points on the board.
Inches to go. The ball will be 18. Following the Larry Brinson fumble by Dallas. Motion. Craig getting the call. Foreman spins, and he's down close to the 15-yard line. Bernie Barnes takes him down, but that's a 1st down for Minnesota. Chuck Foreman, who has compiled an incredible career thus far. This is 6th year, gained over 5,000 yards rushing. 3 straight years of 1,000 yards, and suffering from that knee that Howard spoke of. It occurred in the Bear game, and it has bothered him. He missed a couple of games. And he's trying to get back to the form that makes him one of the most dangerous running backs in all of football. Now, this is what we anticipated earlier, spreading all over the field, trying to foul up the Cowboys' keys. They are a keen defense, a disciplined defense. Over the middle, it goes to Bob Tucker, and Tucker goes down in the arms of Charlie Waters, short of the 1st down, inside the 7-yard line.
That's what Frank called your attention to, the general premise we established, that the Vikings would try to establish a new look tonight. Everybody knows that Dallas is a computerized team. Based upon, they predicate their defenses, as you look at the play that just gained the yardage enunciated by Frank. That defense is predicated upon offensive frequency tendency.
Hospital with that sounds familiar. It should be, because that's the same knee brace that Joe Namath was put on. Joe, earlier, he had that fitted on Monday.
Returned on Tuesday, has worked out 1 day. Sorry for our technical difficulties. The picture was out for a moment in your area. We apologize. We'll be working on that. You saw the indication of the holding, or if you didn't, that's what we saw. Here's the call, referee Fred Wyatt.
Holding number 73, offense.
Ranieri, the all-pro right tackle, backs the Minnesota Vikings out to the 17-yard line. Down will remain the same. It'll be 2nd down and 12. And Dallas comes in with their prevent defense. And one of the things you do when a team starts to get into kind of weird formations, as Minnesota's indicated they will, one of the things you can do very effectively just blitzed them.
That is right. Throw them a zone or blitz. Here they all come again.
The big split. Denny Barnes now right at the line of scrimmage. No blitz. Over the middle, Foreman is open. And Foreman has the first down. He's down close to the 3-yard line. Denny Barnes made the stop. And right now, Don, is very effective.
Yeah, they really are. They are moving it around. You mentioned to Fran in his interview about playing Dallas an awful lot. I've known Fran for an awfully long time. He loves to play Dallas. He really loves to play against the flex defense. He feels that it gives him a little bit advantage because there's at least 2 guys that are a little bit off the line when they have that rush. He loves to pick against he knows, he just knows the defense very well. He knows how to take advantage of that time. He had Foreman working man-to-man on Barnes, but Barnes was in a new position. He didn't play his cornerback like he usually does.
First and goal. Motion man, Ricky Young. Parkinson tosses the Foreman, touchdown Minnesota, and they take the lead. And it all began when Brinson fumbled the opening kickoff. And Minnesota is on the scoreboard.
That was really pretty slick. You know, they got the big holding penalty. Looked like, well, that might be a situation that forced them to settle for a field goal attempt. Came back with a big hit to Foreman. Again, you see both backs coming up from the short set backfield. That's awfully hard to cover. That's the middle linebacker's man to cover Bruning. Very hard for anybody to cover him. Bruning that time got a step or two a little slow in getting that start. 6 points for Minnesota.
Rick Danmeyer for the conversion. And it's good. 11:22 remaining in the first quarter. Minnesota leads the Dallas Cowboys 7-0. And we'll be back in Irving, Texas, right after this message.
Okay, Linda here's got to protect her family.
A woman?
Sure, a woman needs life insurance just as much as a man does. And this New York Life Defense has just the insurance plan to do it. Put the blitz on Linda's money problems. Block out her retirement worry. Come on, Linda, it's all yours now. Let it go!
I've got it. Financial security.
Where the name of the game is life, there's New York Life.
Ladies and gentlemen, we challenged hotshot Dick Tchaikovsky to play the Mattel Electronics football game. Dick doesn't know. Inside is a tiny thinking computer that plays like a whole team of pros. Dick's got the ball, but that computer defense is tough. He drives up the middle, stopped cold.
1 yard?
Now, Dick cuts left, down the sidelines, touchdown. Mattel Electronics Pocket Football with the built-in computer.
Hey, who's in there?
As Chuck Foreman played such a significant part, Dandy put his hand right on the matter. The key play after the penalty was Tarkenton's pass to Foreman. Tarkenton went 4 for 4 in the drive, 31 yards, and quickly Minnesota ahead. Gift.
Foreman with his 70th career touchdown. Danmeyer hits it. It'll be Brinson with an opportunity again. This time at the 3, holds on. Runs out of his shoe, however. And Brinson on one shoe gets out to the 22, 23-yard line. But he left his wheel inside the 5-yard line.
Better to lose the shoe than the ball. He's getting better.
He's the guy who fumbled and set up that first Minnesota touchdown.
Well, next time he probably won't lose anything and just do real well.
Brinson collects his foot gear. The offensive unit of the Cowboys comes out. Roger Staubach, of course, at quarterback. Tony Dorsett out of the Hound House, in there with Robert Newhouse as setbacks. Drew Pierce, a wide receiver, along with the 2 tight ends. Jackie Smith is in there, number 81, and Billy Joe Dupree. Jackie Smith, acquired a few weeks ago when Jay Salty was hurt. Was a 15-year veteran with the St. Louis Cardinals. Here comes Newhouse, and there's a big opening in Newhouse, out over the 30. Short of the first down, but a pickup of 9 as he booms right up the middle behind Fitzgerald, Rafferty, and Scott. Defensively, we're going to watch Carl Eller tonight, Doug Sutherland, James White, Jim Marshall in that front 4. Sounds kind of funny without Alan Page, but he's with the Bears now. The linebackers, the one in the middle, he is a tough, heavy hitter, Jeff Seaman, flanked by Matt Blair, Fred McNeil, the secondary, Bryant, Hannon, Wise, and Wright. Second along 1, the ball just over the 30-yard line. Dorsett just back into the eye. Dorsett slithers close to a first down, and he's driven back. Hit by number 29, Bill Wise, coming up from the strong safety position. But he is close to a first down. He has the first down.
Frank, you heard the fans scream when Bobby Newhouse broke for 9 yards on the first run. They love Bobby here, who's proved himself a most functional back. And in point of fact, in career rushing against the Vikes, Newhouse leads all active Dallas backs going into this game with a total of 188 yards. So the 9-yard gain, no surprise.
First and 10, the ball at the 32-yard line. The Cowboys down by 7. They fumble the opening kickoff if you just joined us. Dorsett gets the quick toss to Newhouse. Dorsett with a block, and Newhouse cuts back, and he runs into a crowd. Jeff Seaman was there, and another flag is down. Newhouse cutting back, looking for that gap. He's a good cutback runner. This time he ran right into Seaman. He gets a couple of yards. Well, it wasn't a flag. It was something that blown onto the field. Very subdued crowd. 65,000 of them. But I think they might have been stunned just a little bit on the opening kickoff fumble that led to that Minnesota touchdown. Inside 10 minutes of the first quarter. Second down and 8. Billy Joe Dupree motions to the left. Dorsett following Newhouse. Dorsett bobbles the ball. There's a scramble for it, and the Vikings have it. Dorsett hit hard as he turned the corner, bobbled the ball, and coming up with it, the veteran who is making a record every time he starts a game, and that is Jim Marshall. This is his 259th consecutive football game, and the Vikings have another break.
That's one of Dorsett's problems. At the very beginning of the telecast, we said he's been having his problems on and off the field. As you look at the treasured relic of yesteryear who continues to serve in this year, Jim Marshall. He coughs up the football too much. It's a habit he must break. Dorsett, we mean.
First and 10. The ball at the 37-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. And don't be fooled by anything. Tarkenton said he was going to come out gunning. He goes again. It's Sammy White.
Oh, boy. Tell you, he's right on target, too, Frank. That was a difficult pass to throw, and it lofted right over Aaron Kyle. It was right there. Sammy White just gave him a little move to the inside, came to the outside. He's not making any bones about it. That wasn't even a play fake. He just said, I'm going to throw, and Sammy White beat him to the outside.
You know, Kyle came right up on him, gave him that one allowable bump right there. There it is. And then White just went right by him.
I'm sorry, Frank, you just can't afford against a team like the Vikings 2 quick turnovers deep in your own territory, such as the Cowboys have had.
The little man who wears number 10 is a very clever quarterback. First and 10 at the 13. Draw play. Foreman cuts against the grain. Look out. And Foreman is down at the 4-yard line. Up into there by number 41, Charlie Waters, and short of the first down.
Had it not been Waters there, who's a very sure tackler, I feel reasonably sure that he would have scored on that play. Waters made a good defensive play. Really tough and wide open. Nobody touched him down there, and there he is. Really big hole in that line. Smart call.
Second down and 1. Tom Landry. The Cowboys have, of course, never had another coach. They have not had a losing season either since 1966.
They're not going to have one this year either.
No, indeed. 11 times in the playoffs. 4 Super Bowls, they won 2 of them.
Really 65. We won 7 and lost 7. That's not losing.
Timeout, Minnesota. Fran did not like what he saw across the line of scrimmage, and he calls timeout. They have 8:10 remaining in the first quarter as Fran gives his troops regrouped, and we'll be returning in just a moment.
When you break horses for a living and you do it wrong, they can break you first. But when you do it right, you can turn a terrified animal into a horse a man can count on. And now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life.
If you've got the time,
You've got the time.
we've got the beer.
Miller Beer.
Why are car shoppers everywhere deciding on Datsun?
My wife decided on a Datsun, and
We got such a good deal, we decided to buy 2 at the same time.
the quality is good. It shows craftsmanship,
We got more as considered standard features on the Datsun.
just plain quality of materials, of production, of handling.
Datsun's at year-end prices. See your Datsun dealer today.
Saturday, Colorado, Missouri headlines an action-filled lineup of regional games. Check local listings for NCAA college football on ABC.
Quarterback Fran Tarkenton is 5 for 5 thus far in the early going. He has brought his Minnesota Vikings following 2 Dallas miscues to a 7-0 lead and threatening once again. They have a second down, a long run, the ball inside the 4-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't think they can cover the blast. They say, there was a hole for you, man, right through the middle. Oh, nobody close. They went inside of Too Tall. Check this one out. Too Tall went on that little inside move. He pulled himself out of the play. It was kind of an in-front block. Really, they didn't have to even block him.
Watch Goodrum, 68. Turn to the inside. There he is. Huge hole. Denny Barnes says, why?
That's really, you got Ron Yeri over there, too. And he came down, Frank, and
took everything.
Jones followed him. Left a big hole there.
Dan Meyer for the conversion. Good.
They're loving this in Washington and in New York and in Philadelphia. But we've got 8:07 left in the first quarter and ever so long to go.
Now we're beginning to hear from the crowd, and it's not the cheering. There is a little rustle of boos.
Surprises me.
Ricky Young, who came from San Diego, just scored the touchdown. He's been quite an addition, particularly for Fran Tarkenton. He was San Diego's leading receiver, leading rusher a year ago. And, of course, when Ed White went there, Ricky Young went to Minnesota. And he has provided Fran with that other back, along with Chuck Foreman, that gives Fran the little releases, the little dinks that he likes to use. And he doesn't have a running game. He'll tell you that right now. When he said we're going to come out throwing, that's basically what he has to do.
So 2 turnovers have made the difference. Fran has capitalized on both. Dallas will get another offensive opportunity. And at this point in time, they've got to begin, at least subconsciously, to start thinking, we can't give up the ball again. We can't afford another mistake. Whether or not this will affect their offensive efficiency remains to be seen.
Alois Blackwell is deep, 24. Back there with Larry Brinson. Dan Meyer hits it. This will be the rookie from Houston. Blackwell falls out over the 25-yard line where Dallas will try to get things untracked. Hustling down there, Phil Wise in the special unit for the Minnesota Vikings.
The other thing about it, Giff, is it's fired up Minnesota enormously. Their confidence has to be at a high. As you look at Phil Wise, acquired from the Jets, Tom Landry, who can't possibly be anything but distraught at this moment by the turn of events.
Staubach brings his troops to the line of scrimmage. First and 10, they're down by 14. Falls as he tries to get away from the center. Hits to his feet, but he falls right into the arms of James White. Back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe he loses a yard.
You've got to figure by this time of the night that somebody's trying to tell you don't play many games on Thursday.
It's like Halloween.
Yeah.
This is the time to play. Nobody does it better.
And all the Goblins are wearing purple tonight for the Cowboys.
They'll get it untracked. It's kind of a statistic that sticks out. The Cowboys have only been shut out one time in their entire career, 1960, and it was on a Monday Night Football game, however.
1970, 38-0.
Well, I'm talking about they have not been shut out in their entire career.
Second down and 11, and this is Newhouse, and he spins loose from one tackler as he does so often. Big game. He'll pick up 8. It'll be third down, a long 2, and Robert Newhouse, almost impossible to bring down with one tackler at that line of scrimmage. He just spins and slithers, and he gets good yardage.
Look at this from overhead, Don. We've got the overhead camera tonight.
Yeah, it's got some interesting moves in it. Just a big hole in the middle. They ran Newhouse on that very similar play of the opening play of this game when he picked up about 9. He ran it again. He picked up about 9 again.
2 tight ends are in on third down, a long one. Staubach knows himself. He's close to a first down. He's trying to lunge forward. Jeff Seaman helping out along with Matt Blair.
Little meeting there.
That's Ernie Stoutner, the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. And the Hawkers, he just walked away.
He got into the Hall of Fame. Immediately was eligible. What a defensive lineman for the Steelers. Frank Gifford could write a personal book on Stoutner. Penalty against Dallas. That's going to hurt. They're making mistake after mistake, Giff.
Holding number 62, offense.
John Fitzgerald, the Dallas Cowboys center, caught holding. And that will move the Cowboys back to the 24-yard line. It'll be third down and 11. Preston Pearson comes in. If you follow the Cowboys, you know he's a much better receiver at this point in his career than Tony Dorsett. Matter of fact, he has 27 receptions. They use him primarily in passing situations. This is Preston in motion. Comes back in, sets for the block. Back in a lot of trouble and goes down at the line of scrimmage. It was Jim Marshall who pressured him originally. Then it was James White who moved across to make the stop. And the Cowboys will have to punt, and they are having a difficult time getting things happening.
Interesting things, although this is still, I caution you early in the game, interesting things are happening in this league this year. The expected powerhouses are not playing with emotion, with intensity. Teams like the Giants and Jets and Seattle and Tampa Bay are. It's reflected in the upset.
Danny White will punt for Dallas. Kevin Miller awaits. Danny White, who's having a great year, booms one high and a drive. Miller back to the 22-yard line. And Kevin Miller upended by hustling Dennis Thurman, a rookie from USC. And when we return, Minnesota will have the football once again at the 33-yard line. They lead.
3 unidentified 19-inch color TV pictures, each the best of its brand. Over 1,000 people saw them and picked the one with the best overall picture. They didn't pick America's biggest seller, Zenith, or the second biggest, RCA. Over 60% picked the 19-inch Sylvania Superset. Over 60%. We're not the biggest, but a lot of people think we've got the best picture. The Sylvania Superset.
This is a bodybuilding course. Take it. If you'd like the chance to be in this kind of shape, join the people who've joined the Army. For more information, call this number toll-free.
5:54 to go in the first quarter. The Minnesota Vikings surprisingly lead the Dallas Cowboys 14-0. A couple of miscues. A fumble by Dorsett. A fumble on the kickoff by Brinson. And Minnesota capitalized on each mistake. They have the football first and 10. The ball at their own 33-yard line as they spread all over the field once again. Harkington either missed the handoff, and they have not had a great deal of time to work on this offense. He either missed the handoff or was going to bootleg. I think he missed the handoff.
I think he did, too.
Clearly he did. Quick point to be made. Thursday night game. Very little time to prepare. Dallas thus far the sluggish team. Maybe this relates back to the Minnesota coach Bud Grant, who had great experience in preparing a team for 2 games within a week when he coached in the Canadian League where they played twice a week. Maybe. Minnesota has a long time left in this game to get sluggish too.
Tarkenton loses 4. The ball at the 29-yard line, second down at 14, and this is when the Cowboys like to blitz if they're going to do it. They do not.
Yeah, they do.
They sent Henderson, and Tarkenton read it immediately. He had yelled his automatic out to Tucker, and Tucker did not look back. Tarkenton had to deliver incomplete. Tom Henderson, you might know, he wears number 56 for the Dallas Cowboys. The Staubach gets in touch with somebody upstairs. Is wearing high-top black shoes. He missed a couple of games early in the year with a sore ankle. He's got the big high tops on.
He's the young man we've talked about so often from Langston, with extraordinary speed for a linebacker, and must be one of the best athletes in the league. Some consider him the best all-around athlete in this league.
3rd and 14. Blitz again. This time, it's Ahmad Rashard, and he collects the ball short of the first down out at the 38-yard line, but it'll bring out the punting unit for Minnesota.
I think you saw a pattern there, Frank, and anticipating it is true. If Dallas doesn't know, if they're going to start throwing a lot of stuff at you, then their theory is they blitz. Tom always felt that that was the best way to stop our offense. When we're throwing a lot of different things at us, at different teams, whenever they get confused, they would just blitz. Then we'd go back to an offense that would protect against that, try to guess with them and catch them in a blitz and hit them man-for-man coverage.
Tony Hill is deep. He's a dangerous return man. Greg Coleman, recently acquired. Tremendous kick, and the flag is down, and Coleman is also down. And the ball trickles into the end zone.
That was the Lois Blackwell that ran into the kicker back here. But they got a flag. It'll be another first down and another big mistake for Dallas.
Greg Coleman, who kicked for Cleveland a year ago, and earlier this year, Mike Wood having problems, they let him go. They brought in Greg Coleman, and he really boomed it. He put on a pretty good act here, too, after he got hit.
To be candid, I couldn't understand why Cleveland got rid of Coleman. He's been a tremendous kicker. He's the kid who took over when Skladany never signed with him.
Well, the reason being, the Cleveland Browns decided they wanted their kicker to also be a backup quarterback. They had been in that trouble before, and so they now have a backup quarterback there who is punting in Cleveland named Johnny Evans.
And a better kicker gone.
On 1st and 10. Robert Miller.
Oh, boy. Nice play by Aaron Kyle there. Great quickness and pursuit. You
That
saw
was Sammy White, coming around.
Thomas Henderson held up the interference, played off 2 or 3 guys pretty well, allowed cornerback Aaron Kyle to shoot up on the inside, make a good block, make a good tackle.
And back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10. The ball at the 43. White goes out to the right. Ahmad Rashad. With 32 receptions, 33 now in the year. To the left, and Tarkenton sprints out. Sammy White is there, and Tarkenton doesn't get it to him.
That was a play that should have been completed. White was all alone. It was a designed rollout from the spread formation that Frank designed, but ran through errant play and hastily.
Well, one of the things they were blitzing linebackers. I thought he made a good move, and he had it on a quick count. Didn't really allow Dallas that much time to look at his formation. He got up there, set, and rolled. It was a rollout. The pursuit didn't quite catch up with him, but you're right. He hurried his throw.
3rd down and 10. Now you can anticipate the shift, and there it is. Well, they'll have a name for it by tomorrow. Ahmad Rashad is short of the first down, but he gets away from the tackle of Aaron Kyle. Well, no, they say that his knee went down after he was touched by Aaron Kyle, in which case it's going to be short of the first down.
All right, let's look at it again. The key point, contact with a defensive opponent. Right there.
Well, he put the ball on the ground.
Yes, he did too. That's the other point.
All right, Kip.
That doesn't make a difference, does it?
No, I just observed he put the ball on the ground.
No,
Okay.
that's not down. You got to over the knees down.
They're going to measure, but it does appear to be short. In fact, the Dallas defensive unit is already walking off the field.
Now, if you were a gambler, I would go for it again right here.
So would I.
Look,
Because you're ahead 14-0. If you can keep a drive going and make it 21-0, the hole you're in could be too deep to ever get out. Could be, not necessarily with the time remaining.
And they are going to go. Tarkenton comes back out onto the field. 14-0 they lead.
Now, this is one of the ways I like Bud Grant, Don. We've talked about his stoic manner and all the rest, the strict disciplinarian. But in recent years, he's become kind of a gambler.
I think maybe he always has been. We just haven't been aware of what he's trying to do. But I know Fran is. Fran loves to play this way. And I think, they may not make it, but I agree with the effort.
Foreman, he made it. Over the top, first down, Minnesota. 46-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. So the gamble pays off. Minnesota retains possession. 3:39 remaining in the first quarter.
I think one of the things that Minnesota feared coming in is they wouldn't be able to put enough points on the board to keep up with Dallas. They more or less assumed that Dallas was going to score. And if they could get 21 points in this first quarter, that would be some kind of deal. In a statistic that was shown me today, reminded that in the entire history of these two teams, only 2 players have gained 100 yards rushing when they played. One of them for Dallas, Don Perkins, and Bill Brown for Minnesota.
On 1st and 10, Foreman gets the call again, drives it up the middle, squeezes out a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Inside the 45 goes Chuck Foreman. Randy White, who's having a tremendous year, and this is his 2nd year at tackle, in on that stop. He wears number 54, you might recall, #1 draft pick 4 years ago. couldn't figure out where he fit in, but they knew he was a great football player. There he is, number 54, and they finally moved him to tackle, and along with that man next to him, Harvey Martin, were co-MVPs of the past Super Bowl. He learns every game. 2nd and 8. Screen to the flanker, and it's Bob Tucker. And Tucker bulls forward down close to the 37-yard line, short of the first down. Upset there by Jethro Pugh, hustled over there.
Good effort by Waters that time to turn the ball carrier in. Tried to get around that block, forced him in the inside, allowed that defensive pursuit to come and catch him from the middle.
Well, I'll tell you, we set the stage for this at the very opening. First, the point about the differing formations, the new look. Second, Frank's interview with Fran. We're going to pass. So there's the storyline unfolding.
And he's thrown the ball 10 times already here in the first quarter with 2 minutes to go. Flags go. Frank Myers, the rookie replacement for Steve Riley over the left side. Number 74. He's done quite a job. When Riley went down and was hurt, they had to bring somebody in there, and young Frank Myers has provided a lot of good tackle job for him.
Well, let me tell you about Frank Myers. He was a 5th-round Baltimore Colts draft choice. He's described by his own management as adequate. You saw the call by the official. And Minnesota got him in exchange for an 8th-round draft choice in the trade with Baltimore.
He made a big mistake just then. That's a really cost. That's right. You'll hear about that a lot.
Not only that, he's going against Harvey Martin tonight, so we'll keep our eye on that matchup. But he performed very well against Freddie Dryer. Better than Minnesota thought he could when the Vikes lost to the Rams.
3rd down, 7. 43-yard line for the Dallas Cowboys. Tarkenton at the time has the receivers for shot, and again he breaks tackles. And he has the first down at the 33-yard line. Good effort by Rashad. Good effort by Tarkenton to get it there. Aaron Kyle missed the tackle.
3rd down, long situation is so hard to make anyway. He just sits there and more or less telegraphs what they're going to do, and he's beating you on sheer execution. Good route by Rashad, but not really anything fancy. Kyle's way off of him. Kyle's coming up trying to, I don't know, he's just slipping tackles. That's Barnes coming over to help him. Aaron gets up off his whatever and pulls his feet down. There you go.
9 of 11 for Tarkenton. 1st and 10. Inside the 33 of the Cowboys. The Vikings leading 14-0. Sandy White on the reverse. Well, up run away from 56, Tom Henderson. Henderson pulls him down from behind after a gain of 1.5 yards or 2.
Well, that was good defensive work and an evidence of Henderson's lateral speed and pursuit, if you want to use that Time Warren word. I love the end-around play. I've loved it through all the years I've watched football done, and I loved it when Hank Stram used it with 25 Frank Pitts to help undo the Vikes in the Super Bowl of 1970. And Monday night, you weren't with us, Houston used it brilliantly with Richard Casper.
It is. Harvey Martin was hurt on that last play. Then replaced by Bethea.
Martin, of course, nursing a sore knee. Bethea, the rookie from Michigan State, is in there now. He wears number 76. Tarkenton again. And this time, everybody was coming, including the safety man. Cliff Harris. Tarkenton just hung it up.
He really did just hang it up. He's lucky no Cowboy was around for the intercept.
Smart enough to throw it too deep.
Look at the stats. Did you see that graphic, Frank? 9 out of 12, 109 yards for Sir Francis.
He's doing what he told us he was going to do. He was very open right out on the record with it. And, of course, if you look at the stats, you know that they are the last team in the NFL, all 28 teams. This is the worst rushing team, the Minnesota Vikings.
I can figure that out. They got nobody back there to carry the ball. Oh, now they got somebody.
3rd down, 7. Tarkenton and Bob Tucker cannot hold on. He had it in his hands, dropped it. It would have been a first down, and Francis is upset.
You know what? I think he's upset. I think he's upset that they knocked down Ricky Young because they hit him down the line. I don't know whether Tucker hit him or not, but he was running, trying to find somebody open. Couldn't quite do it.
Well, he found somebody open,
Well, he
and
did,
Tucker
right.
didn't hold the ball. And I'll tell you, but Dallas, that's a key play. Maybe now they can get themselves together as we approach the end of the first quarter with 14 seconds left. It was a designed rollout to the left, and Tucker, I think, Young was the intended receiver.
47-yard field goal attempt, Dan Meyer. He's kicked one already this year at 46. No. So Dallas trailing 14-0. Dodges a bullet. They'll have a 1st and 10 at the original line of scrimmage when we return to Texas Stadium.
Why are truck shoppers everywhere deciding on Datsun?
It's going to pay for itself in 2 years.
They're fantastic as far as gas mileage.
The money I'm saving on gas alone will do it.
After driving them all and comparing the prices, this was the best deal.
I think this is a versatile car. It's comfortable, it gets good mileage. It was the end of the year. They were clearing out the 1978, so I got an extra special deal.
Datsun trucks at year-end prices. See your Datsun dealer today.
Many people think of corporations as ivory towers. But in an ivory tower world, 3M hears you. When 3M heard that most telephone copying machines required 4 to 6 minutes to transmit a page, 3M developed the Express 9600 and speeded transmission up to 12 times. Small, big, simple, complex. Ingenious products for practical use. Made possible because 3M listens. 3M hears you.
The Los Angeles Rams battled the Atlanta Falcons Monday night on ABC.
And something you shouldn't miss, preceding our game, Terror in the Promised Land, an ABC News close-up, Monday night at 8 Eastern Time, 7 Central Time. This program includes an exclusive and close-up look at the Palestinian suicide squads training for terrorist missions and interviews with PLO terrorist leaders. A hard look at the most difficult obstacle to real peace in the Middle East. Terror in the Promised Land, that's Monday night on ABC, right before Atlanta and Los Angeles. 1st and 10, the Dallas Cowboys, down by 14. Ball just over their own 30-yard line. Play action. Ball back. Again goes down in the arms of Jim Marshall. James White, who got in there first, breaking his block, forced all back out of the pocket, and Marshall was there.
Cowboys showed the defense of the Vikings that time 5 offensive sets before they snapped the ball.
There's Harvey Martin's knee brace. We talked to him about it yesterday, right after a Dallas workout. Held it up proudly and said it's the same one Joe Willie wore. The gun for the end of the quarter yet.
And what a quarter was offensively for the Minnesota Vikings. They have a 14-0 lead over the Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys. We'll be returning to Irving, Texas. Stay with us.
By now, almost everybody's heard about the incredible Black & Decker Workmate. About how it makes almost any hard job a lot easier, like planing, hammering, sawing, almost anything. But what most people don't know about the incredible Workmate is now you can get a single hack model for as little as $45.
Wow.
That's right. A Black & Decker Workmate for about $45. That's really incredible.
I'm Merlin, the electronic wizard, challenging you to 6 computer games. Start with simple tic-tac-toe. Your turn, my turn. I'll tell you if you win and when you lose. Play all kinds of games. Echo, Blackjack 13, Magic Square, or formidable Mind Bender, or make beautiful music together. Merlin, the electronic wizard from Parker Brothers.
You know, when I've got a little extra time on my hands, I like to do things I really enjoy, like roping. But there's one thing I enjoy all the time, and that's tobacco. And just like millions of other guys, I get my tobacco pleasure without lighting up, because I use smokeless tobacco. My favorite brand is Skoal with the wintergreen taste. And just a pinch between your cheek and gum is all it takes. And boy, it sure does feel good in there. So take it from me, Walt Garrison. Do something you're really going to enjoy. Try going smokeless.
A sellout crowd at Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. They're watching their Dallas Cowboys, the Super Bowl champions, the #1 team offensively in the entire NFL. They gained a net of 24 yards in the first quarter. They're down 14-0. 1st and 10. The Cowboys, their own 30-yard line. Newhouse, right side, finds a little opening and squeezes out about 3 yards. It's going to be 3rd down and long 7. That player made the stop, and there is the story of the first quarter.
So one-sided, as you can see, especially in the passing game. Talkington doing exactly what he told Frank Gifford he was going to do in his interview with Frank, done early. As we set the storyline for this game, it's holding up at this point. 2 Dallas turnovers, setting the stage for 2 quick Minnesota scores.
Larry Brinson fumbled the opening kickoff. Later, moments later, Tony Dorsett fumbled. Minnesota paid off on both of them. Out of the shotgun, 3rd down and 7.
He's got
Ball back, and Billy Joe Dupree. It bounces off his hands. He collects it, and he goes inside the 40 of the Minnesota Vikings. And Dallas has a first down.
That was so strange because he was just standing there by himself for what seemed like
Run easily for the first down, but he elected not to. Look at it again from the end zone.
No, I was talking about Dupree standing down there. He's wide open. There's just nobody around him, and he comes back across the middle. And Roger did see him. Wisely chose not to run, throw it, pick up a first down.
Matt Blair made the crushing tackle there, number 59, the very linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. But Dallas has a first down inside the 40 of Minnesota. Dorsett looking for a cutback, nowhere to go, and it was Phil Wise who made the force, and then Seaman was there to make sure, and Dorsett loses the yardage back to the 42-yard line.
And as you may hear, they're booing him roundly, but Dorsett is prepared for that. He's a great football player, and a loss on an individual play isn't going to change his abilities.
Remarkable young man, over 6,000 yards in his collegiate career.
I felt that graphic was misleading because he had been benched in the last game, personally.
2nd down, 13. Dorsett. And he is piled up after a gain of about a yard. It was Jeff Seaman, and Jeff Seaman will hit you.
Well, the crowd is booing him again, but the crowd doesn't understand that his offensive line has to give him some help, and Coach Landry has been complaining openly about the play of his offensive line this year. And as Harvey Martin said yesterday to me, but the fans don't understand how it is. We're not going against a bunch of statues out there.
3rd down and 11.
There's a stoop.
Tony Hill right, Drew Pearson left. The motion man, Billy Joe Dupree. Flag is down. We could have had illegal motion. Pass intended for Butch Johnson. And the flag is down. I think Billy Joe Dupree might have turned upfield.
He did, weaving in and out of those backs they had set back there. It's obstacle course.
Gotta decline that.
It might not have been.
It will be either 4th down or 3rd down and 18. Obviously, Minnesota will decline the penalty. They want the football.
That was a big series of downs.
Motion 89 offense declined 4th down.
Big for Minnesota because Tucker's miss of Tarkenton's pass for a first down, which could have led to a 3rd Minnesota touchdown, could have ignited the Cowboys to a touchdown drive to turn this game around. But it didn't. That's why it was a big series of downs.
This is one place where Minnesota has also been failing. They have not been returning kicks well. You've had a look at Kevin Miller. Danny White angles for the corner, hoping to put it inside, and he does not. He catches the end zone touchback. So Minnesota will have a 1st and 10 on the touchback at their own 20-yard line. 12:29 remaining in the half, 14-0 Minnesota.
It's time to reveal the best-kept car secret of the year. A totally new Z-Car. The new Datsun 280ZX. Come sit in velour. Aircraft lighting on all instruments. Pre-flight checkout system. Power windows pre-programmed. Look, no hands. Power steering. 5-speed stick with cruise control. 4-speaker stereo. A cockpit of luxury found in cars costing thousands more. Now, feast your eyes on the new 280ZX. The look is pure Z-Car, yet it looks like no other Z roaming the road. It's Datsun driven to its best, and Datsun at its best is awesome. We are
That's Tom Landry. He's talking upstairs, of course, and what he's talking about and thinking about is how do we adjust to this new look Minnesota is giving us. And certainly after a quarter and now into the 2nd quarter, Don, we can look for some defensive adjustments.
I think you're right.
Tarkenton first and 10. Sprint out. Looking for Sammy White. He wasn't open. He has a man, though, sprinting down the sideline. It's Ricky Young, but right with him, number 50, D.D. Lewis.
D.D.'s been around a while. How about give me something, Frank? I'm sorry.
Well, how about some college football?
Yeah, good.
Saturday, a great lineup of regional action. NCAA college football, 1:30 Eastern Pacific, 12:30 Central. Colorado goes against Missouri. What a rivalry that is in the Big 8. Both teams have identical 5-2-0 records. Missouri ranked 13th in the AP poll. Then we have Arizona State against Washington. We have Purdue against Iowa, Florida against Georgia Tech, Clemson, North Carolina State, Holy Cross against Brown. So check the local listing for the college game in your area over most of these ABC stations. Second down and 10. Flag is down. Rashad is down at the 30-yard line.
Man, I tell you, Tarkenton made a heck of a move just to get the ball off. Nobody touched Henderson. Henderson really leveled him, got the ball off right on time. He's done that a lot. It's something that a lot of quarterbacks, that just a slight little flinch, going to throw that ball off. Brand stuck in there.
Offside, Minnesota, and that'll back him up. It'll be second down and 15. And the other difficulty you have as we look at the man who put this offense in, he didn't have a lot of time to work with it. And when you blitz them, that's one of the most difficult things there is. Here's the call. It's offside, but what you really have to do is make sure the men you keep in the block know their assignments, and you don't learn it overnight. And against Dallas, it can be really hard on your quarterback. Henderson, a good blitzing linebacker, as of course is D.D. Lewis. Second and 15. The ball inside the 15 now. Oh, boy. Foreman erupts out over the 25-yard line, close to the 29-yard line, short of a first down. It'll be third down and about 2.
Not too bad a call. Great work by the offensive line. Done. Look at the hole from overhead.
All right. Number one, there's nobody in the middle. There's not a middle linebacker. I would suspect that it's either an audible or it's the kind of play that they call when that defense comes in. They only call it the huddle. There's nobody there. He comes right in the middle, and there's nobody there. They have the ends covered. They think they're going to throw. Good job by Frank.
You saw the classic look at the outside 4-3. That's what you use against a pass to get the rush, but Tarkenton had the perfect call right up the middle. Play action, Ricky Young. Tarkenton has to dump it off, and it gets to Steve Boyd.
But it's the first down.
It's the first down. And again, Tarkenton paid the price.
He's doing a good job.
He is doing a sensational job as you look at it again.
You see
And
Bruni
through the
coming in.
years, one of Tarkenton's great abilities has been to make a man of not great ability look better than he is. Thus, Stu Voigt, not one of the better tight ends in the National Football League by the standards of Francis and Casper, has been consistently effective with Tarkenton.
First and 10, the ball at the 32-yard line. Minnesota leading 14-0. Ricky Young. And Ricky Young goes down, stumbles forward to about the 36-yard line, hit by Bob Bruni. It's a gain of 4. It'll be second down and 6.
This kind of offense works extremely well if you can get enough protection from the 5 offensive linemen. And so far, he's been able to do that, get the pass off quickly. If he has to take more time and throw deeper, I think he'll run into trouble.
Second and 6. This is a good blitz down for Dallas. Watch those linebackers. They're always kind of out of the shot, but they come in quickly when they come. Hand off to Ricky Young. And reading it perfectly was Bob Bruni, number 53, once again.
You saw a slight defensive adjustment, Frank, right before the snap of the ball. You saw Dallas shift their right defensive tackle and right defensive end. It was audible on defense that time, based on the formation that Minnesota was in. They expected that. They've scouted those kind of formations. They know what they like to do there in that situation. They shifted into it and protected against the run.
Third and 6. Tarkenton again. Here comes the safety blitz. He throws it away, and this time almost picked off.
They're going to really come at him. If Brand can hold up all night, he's going to be okay. But, man, they're going to give him a run for his money.
Well, I'll tell you, Cliff Harris was in on him, 43 like a shot.
And there was Randy Hughes, too.
They brought everyone but Landry.
He's not going to go.
Greg Coleman comes in.
Now the crowd's picking up because Dallas has stopped the Vikes twice in a row.
Tony Hill goes deep for Dallas, standing back at his 24-yard line. Dangerous return man. Butch Johnson a little bruised. Ordinarily we'd be back there. A low kick. Hill will have an opportunity. And Tony Hill, nifty footwork, and he moves out to the 44-yard line. Greg Coleman kicks it low, and Tony Hill returns it for good field position for Dallas.
The American Indian has always respected the eagle, its strength, its freedom to sail, to soar, master of the sky. To fly like the eagle is no longer a dream. To fly to the lands of the Native American or anywhere else in the world on a Boeing 747. The world's favorite way to fly.
When you need some things for working out.
You're in good shape if you've got clout. Raring to go, feel like a king. Got new clubs with my clout.
But the same old swing.
When my green thumb starts to sprout, I use the card that carries clout, MasterCharge.
The #1 card in the world.
When you carry MasterCharge, you carry clout.
Why do without? Use your clout.
14-0, Minnesota capitalizing on 2 errors by the Dallas Cowboys. Took the lead in the first quarter, 9:23 now remaining in the first half. Good field position for Dallas. Their own 44-yard line. Good return by Tony Hill. The motion is Drew Pearson. Play action to Dorsett. Starback with a lot of time, going deep to Tony Hill. And almost picked off. Tom Hannon visibly upset that he could not hold on. Phil Wise was also back there covering. Starback had all the time in the world, but good defensive coverage by Phil Wise and this man, a second-year man from Michigan State, Tom Hannon. Look at it again.
Almost looked to me like he let him get too far downfield before he let the ball go. Had to lay it up too hard, too high to get there. He does have good protection, as you mentioned. There's no one there. Tony's running a cross pattern. Oh, this was a little bit late, I believe, in being released. He was open for a while. Good defensive play.
Jackie Smith comes into the lineup. He wears number 81. 480 career receptions for Jackie Smith. Dorsett finds a little hole and makes a bundle out of it. Not quite enough for the first down. It'll be third down and a yard as he moves inside of Minnesota territory at the 47.
I'd like to make this observation. I think clearly you can sense a swing in the momentum. Dallas has adjusted, stopping Minnesota twice consecutively to what Minnesota's been trying to give a new look to, their offense, and they're about ready to strike.
Well, they had a lot of turning to do. They gained 24 yards in the first quarter. Number 1 offensive team in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys. They have a third down and 1. Newhouse, huge hole, and Newhouse cuts back to the inside, gets inside the 40, down close to the 38-yard line. First down, Dallas.
They had an odd man set that time. Odd man being a man over the center. And the linebackers are over the offensive guards. You can see the big number 72, James White, right over the center.
Good block by Dorsett.
Yeah, good block by Dorsett. You're right. Led right into it. They hit the open hole. They hit where the linebackers were standing up. I think the play before with Dorsett running up the middle, they're going to check out those new tackles. You've got James White and Sutherland up there. Page is gone, so Cowboys will go right at it.
First and 10. Now back, Tony Hill. And Tony Hill tiptoed close to another Dallas first down.
One of the keys you look for is when you got more than one guy open on the same route, you know that defense is not doing too well. He had 2 guys open basically in the same area that time.
This crowd has come alive now. We've talked to you about Tony Hill before because we've had 2 previous Dallas games, the Monday night opener. As you look at Tony, the 38-0 rout of Baltimore, and then the 9-5 upset by Washington.
Hill did get the first down. tiptoeing down the sideline. Cowboys first and 10. The ball inside the 28-yard line of Minnesota. Newhouse goes down. He's in the arms of Jeff Seaman.
Developed too slowly, that play. Enabled Seaman to come up through the middle, take a step to his right, close Newhouse off before he broke through the line of scrimmage.
Gain of 2. It'll be second down and 8. Dallas with almost a specialty unit on every situation.
Seems that way.
Here comes Lawless, 66, the guard with the play. Tony Hill comes back into the lineup. So we have Hill and Drew Pearson. Pearson, 29 receptions thus far in the year. Tony Hill now with 24. Second and 8. Draw play, Newhouse.
He went the wrong direction.
Newhouse gets away from Jeff Seaman this time. Bounces all over the football field, getting inside the 25. A gain of 2 and a run of about 10. And the crowd loves him, as you can probably hear in the background. Done last night at an affair here in Dallas. Bobby Newhouse gave me the key to the city.
I saw your picture with him on the front page of the paper.
What city? But when he gave it to me, he said, "I'm not telling you whether it's the front door or the back." Don Landry. 66. His team's average per year, a little over 3 losses. A remarkable record. Preston Pearson in, of course, the passing situation. Staubach in a crowd, and Preston Pearson holds on.
Hey, is that a nice catch?
That's the first down, down at the 13-yard line. That was a great catch, and it wasn't an easy pitch for Roger, who was under insistent pressure.
He moved up into it. The guys didn't open up quickly. You'll see that starts off with fairly good protection. Nobody breaks up. He moved up a little too quickly into the pocket. Threw the ball in a really very difficult position to catch. Frank, you may comment on that because he came out of the backfield. When you're running one direction, it's a little bit behind you and low. That's a tough place to catch it. Good concentration by Pearson, and it was a good effort by Roger to get the pass away.
Not artistic, but rather effective. Paul Kraus attempting to defend. The Cowboys have a first and 10. The ball at the 13-yard line of Minnesota. Dorsett gets away from one tackler, but he does not get away from number 20, Bobby Bryant.
The stats on Minnesota down here inside the 20-yard line is that they blitz 60% of the time. Very high percentage of blitz inside the 20. Inside the 10, not really that unusual. But they really start coming at you when you get inside the 20-yard line. Dallas has a couple of plays that they try to counter with this. They'll go to one side. They'll come back. They have screens. They have a halfback pass that they might throw. They're a little bit too close in for that. Have a flanker pass that they'll throw tonight, too, I think.
Second down, 14. Drew Pearson out to the right. Covered there singly by Nate Wright. That's dangerous. Staubach saw it, too. He wanted to go, and Nate Wright put on the coverage. I don't believe it.
I thought he was out of bounds when he threw it.
I thought Roger was a dead duck. That's why Roger Staubach's a great athlete. That's why Robert Newhouse is what we call a functional back. Look at it again. He was close to being out of bounds, as you'll see, but he just did get it away. There it is.
Everybody was pretty well covered that time. You can't cover Newhouse any closer than Blair has it covered. He just stopped and we're out of bounds. Roger made a good adjustment. Little quick handoff fake to Dorsett. And there he is out on the sideline. He just stops. Smart enough not to go out of bounds. Roger hit him, picked up 5-6 yards, saved the loss of about 3.
It's third down and 5. 8-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. The Cowboys down by 14. Preston Pearson in the lineup again. He's 26. And there with Dorsett.
Down and away.
An attempt to Drew Pearson, and Drew Pearson well covered. Bobby Bryant, Staubach just threw it away.
They're even considering going for it. Now he changed his mind. He says, no, we're going to kick.
He's got to put the points on the board.
Yeah, he does.
Dallas used up a lot of the clock on that drive. There are only 3:44 left in the first half.
It's very easy to question plays up here. We've talked about that a lot, but I thought that was an unusual call. Third down in a 5 situation down on about the 8-yard line, and he's trying to hit a square out.
Talking over with Tom. Rafael Septian, field goal attempt, 25 yards. He's 4 of 9 on the year. An easy chip, and the Cowboys erase the 0 on the scoreboard. They now trail 14-3. We'll be returning for the Dallas kickoff in just a moment.
Rejoice! A totally new Z-Car. The new Datsun 280ZX. Plush velour cockpit. Computerized safety check. Power steering. 5-speed with cruise control. 4-speaker stereo. 4-wheel disc brakes. Here's luxury and performance found in cars costing thousands more. Datsun's new ZX is awesome.
Today, crimes of violence are moving to better neighborhoods. But now you can help protect your loved ones with the West Clock's Home Protector burglar alarm. Put one on your bedroom windows. Works on doors, too. Installs with a screwdriver. No wires, no batteries, priced under $10. Guard the safety of your loved ones with the Home Protector burglar alarm from West Clocks by Tally Industries.
Dallas is on the scoreboard, but they trailed 14-3, and I know they can't be happy coming away from that long drive. They used up a great deal of time with only 3 points. Kevin Miller standing at the goal line. Rafael Seption set to kick off. Hangs it high. Kevin Miller from his 7-yard line. I want to remind you, we'll be in Atlanta for the Rams and the Atlanta Falcons coming up on Monday night. And just before that, a big night coming up. The Los Angeles Rams, of course, against the Falcons, but there is going to be, provided by ABC News, a special Terror in the Promised Land, a close-up. Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 Central Time. An interesting, a fascinating look at terrorism. And there is an offside now down on the field. And we are going to kick it again.
Number 25, kicking team.
Of course, in that special, ABC News special, and have interviews with PLO terrorist leaders, and there'll be a hard look at one of the most difficult obstacles to real peace in the Middle East, titled Terror in the Promised Land, Monday night on ABC.
Frank,
Immediately following the Rams and the Falcons.
Frank, you touched on a key point a moment ago, the amount of time the Cowboys used up in that drive. In point of fact, it was 5 minutes and 42 seconds. And they have to feel a little bit let down coming away without the touchdown. But let's see if they can stop Minnesota again. I keep going back to that missed third down pass by Bob Tucker just as the first quarter ended. That was the shot or the failure by Minnesota that reignited Dallas.
Penalty assessed. Seption will kick from the 30. Kevin Miller is deep. Good kick. 5-yard line. Kevin Miller. Could be trouble. And Kevin Miller gets away from one Dallas Cowboy at the 27 and gets out to the 39-yard line. And this is something the Minnesota Vikings have also been not doing well throughout the season, returning kickoffs.
But this was a good one that gave them good field position. They've got 3 minutes, 19 seconds left in the half. They would like to do 2 things. A, at least get back that Dallas field goal, of course. B, consume the clock. Let's see if they can do it.
I think they need points, too. Well, Dallas is going to explode, and they know it. On the 1st and 10. Foreman. Flag is down. Number 56, Tom Henderson, in on the stop.
That's not me, doggone.
Face mask, and it goes against Dallas. Boy, things have really been going in a negative way for the Cowboys tonight. They fumbled the opening kickoff. Dorsett fumbled right after that. Minnesota pounded in 2 quick touchdowns. Here's the call.
Face mask, number 76, defense, first down.
Larry Bethea, the rookie from Michigan State, at defensive right end, replacing Harvey Martin, face masking.
He got him, didn't he?
He really did.
Oh, did he hook him? Right on target. The first down at the 47-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. 3:14 remaining in the first half. Falcons. Bob Tucker Tucker out of bounds after a 6-yard pickup. Minnesota territory inside the 49-yard line. Charlie Waters was there defensively. Bob Tucker, of course, led the NFL with Fran Tarkenton a few years ago with the New York Giants back in '71 with 59 receptions. He, of course, joined the Vikings last year after the 5th game.
I thought Tucker went out of bounds that time. He didn't? Evidently not. The clock is still running.
And it shows inside 2:35 now, remaining in the first half. On second down, Tarkenton goes out to Ricky Young, and Young steps out of bounds, stopping the clock short of the first down at the 44-yard line.
Is just short of the first down, and basically you're watching a master at work. He did have to take an earlier timeout when things grew confusing. They've still got 2 timeouts left. Remember, the object to get back the points of the Dallas field goal and to consume the clock. Right now, he's showing the ability to do both.
Those are his stats, but keep in mind, now in his 18th year, Tarkenton has thrown for over 45,000 yards. Went over the 45,000 mark last week in a winning effort against Green Bay. Foreman gets to the outside, the first down and 20 more.
Tell you, if Bruning had not come through for that middle linebacker to pull him down, that outside defense for the Cowboys was pretty well mown down by Ricky Young, who seemed to have a domino effect on Waters and Harris. How'd you like that?
I like that.
Yes,
the domino effect.
Yes, domino effect. Catch one, let them all fall into one another in all those ways.
We will not get this playoff before the 2-minute warning. And there it is. The Vikings leading the Dallas Cowboys 14-3, 2 minutes remaining in the first half.
This Olympus OM-1 brought back photographs from around the world, but it wasn't on vacation. The OM-1 went into combat, where rugged reliability is a necessity. The OM-1 recorded disasters because it's fast and responsive. In fact, wherever you find news, you'll find the gutsy compact Olympus OM-1. It's used by United Press International worldwide. That's why the Olympus OM-1 has outsold all compact SLRs. You know our pictures, now you know our name. The Olympus OM-1 is #1.
Light beer from Miller tastes just great, and that's no fish story. But the best thing is, it's less filling. Light's got 1/3 less calories than their regular beer, and that's important when you're trying to land that big one. Like yesterday, I hooked this bass, fought him for over 6 hours. All of a sudden, he jumps clean over the boat. Broke my rod, and I had to tie the... No, wait a minute, fellas. I had to tie the line
Light
off
beer
on the
from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Left me out there with nothing but a paddle.
Tom Landry pacing the bench, wondering what in the world has gone wrong tonight. Halloween has come a little early. Everything that could have gone wrong so far has gone wrong for the Cowboys. And a lot of it being induced by a man wearing number 10, Francis Tarkenton. He came in throwing the football. He's continued to throw the ball. He's throwing it a little shorter, dumping it off. He likes to do that, and then let his backs like Foreman and Ricky Young run with it. That has been very effective. They have a 1st and 10. At the 39-yard line. Tarkenton now 13 of 19 on the night, no interceptions. Tarkenton just hung it up as he was being pressured. Number 54, Randy White was in there. The intended receiver, Bob Tucker, well covered by Charlie Waters. 2nd and 10.
Tucker looked beseechingly at an official, claiming interference. Charlie Waters, number 41, claimed interference in the opposite direction. The officials dutifully ignored both protestations.
Oh, man.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
2nd and 10.
No penalty.
Rashad goes out to the left. Out to the right goes Sammy White. This has been the down that the Cowboys like to send everybody. They have a couple of safety men right up there now. And here comes Cliff Harris. He's picked up, and Tarkenton read it, fires it to Rashad complete. Short of the first down inside the 31.
I love to see that pass. It's just one that's strictly timing. It requires an awful lot for a receiver to come in the middle like that. Keep his eyes and concentration on the ball. Quarterback has to have it right there. And if those two things happen, it'll be complete.
3rd down and 2. 2 timeouts remaining. The clock is moving at 1:30. A long 2, that is. Foreman Foreman trying to surge forward to the first down, and he's very close.
He got it. I think he got it.
He did
Clearly.
get it. D.D. Lewis made the stop, but not until Foreman had picked up the first down.
And Fran calls one of his remaining 2 timeouts.
He moves over to the sideline now for a little bit of a conference. He'll have 1 timeout remaining and 1 minute and 7 seconds remaining in the half at a 14-3 lead.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Baker.
And I'm Connie Dolan. We're Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
We've got a question. What do Steve Largent, Louis Kelcher, and Haven Moses have in common?
Answer, all 3 appeared in the new series of NFL United Way announcements this season.
Players from each of the NFL teams take you to special places in their towns, like Bunker Hill in Boston,
Stone Mountain in Atlanta,
and the country where legends say Paul Bunyan lived.
Then they introduced you to some very special people, the people you helped through your United Way. The little deaf girl in Houston you helped to speak,
a handicapped worker in Cleveland that you helped to get a job,
and a blind girl in Denver you taught to read.
This is the 5th season that the National Football League has presented United Way spots as a free public service.
To this series, the millions of people helped by United Way can say,
thanks to you, it works for all of us. The United Way.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. 1:07 remains in the first half. Minnesota has a 1st and 10 inside the 29-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys, and they have a 14-3 lead. Minnesota, of course, chasing Green Bay in their Central Division of the NFC. That's an unusual position for them. They've won 9 of the last 11 years in the Central Division, but Green Bay has a 6-2 lead. Minnesota is 4-4, as is Tampa. Too much time.
That's unusual, isn't it?
Really is.
You come in on a 2-minute situation and you call the timeout to save it, and you come up and get called for too much time. I would suggest that possibly Dallas has adjusted to that new offensive formation.
And it could be that Minnesota is not quite so familiar with it, that it takes a little bit of play calling in there, a little bit of time, maybe a question or two by the part of one receiver. Am I in the slot? Am I in the line of scrimmage? In any event, the 5-yard penalty is 1st down and 15. Situated now inside the 34-yard line. Larry Cole is in there defensively for Dallas. He wears 63. Jethro Pugh is out.
Big hole. Big hole. Same thing.
Again, they came and it was quick trap blocking. Foreman found the opening, 1st down, Minnesota.
Nobody in the middle. They were overshifted again. Had Henderson coming from the inside, his defensive end and tackle. Overshift to the other side.
There's the trap.
There. Quick trap.
And he called 2 plays to save time in the huddle, and you're watching a master at work.
On the 1st and 10, Tarkenton going for a shot, and he is in
a flag.
Dogfight down there with Aaron Kyle. They were pushing and shoving.
Good call.
Flag is down. It could have been Rashad first, and then defensively on the part of Aaron Kyle. Tarkenton to get out of there. Don't argue with him. It's going to go for us.
Yeah, it sure is. I would imagine it's...
I'll tell you, when you're in a situation like that, no matter how well-trained a player is, no matter how experienced, human reaction enters into it. Now, they come back.
Landry, visibly disturbed with the showing of his team. Bud Grant smiles on his face. He marked off from the line of scrimmage, 5 yards. Here's the call.
They call it an illegal chuck, I guess, don't you?
I believe so.
Holding number 25, 1st down.
Aaron Kyle tangled up with Ahmad Rashad. Take a look at it. You see Rashad run into Kyle first, I do believe, right there.
That's it.
Boy.
Well, he didn't hold him. So I guess it's just
1st down. Ball at the 12-yard line. Tarkenton to the air again.
Oh, he's got him wide open.
Wide open, Sammy White.
And what a move he put on Barnes.
Touchdown. He put a move on Benny Barnes and spun him all the way around.
He really did.
What you've just seen is a positive master at work. Tarkenton with the 2 goals to get back the points that Dallas had scored. He got more than that as we look at it again. And at the same time, to consume the clock, there are only 29 seconds left in the half. What a performance. And going into this game, Francis had been intercepted only once in his last 116 pass attempts.
And he's throwing at 62% as we watch Rick Danmeyer for the conversion. And Minnesota is making it look easy. 21 against 3. And let's take a look at the move that Sammy White puts on Benny Barnes.
He goes to the outside, Frank. With that first little head fake, makes a move to the inside and left Barnes just standing there.
As you know, too, Don, when you're in a blitzing defense, and leave your cornerbacks generally man-to-man, and that was the situation. Sammy White did a number on Benny Barnes.
I was talking about earlier when Dallas was down in that 3rd down and 5 or 6 situation, and they ran a straight out pattern. That's only one look that the defensive back has to do. Ordinarily, Dallas likes to give you either a quick move to the inside and try to catch that guy, the defensive back on the outside, or they too will run that similar type pattern, a double move. In and out.
21-3. Minnesota capitalizing on 2 Dallas errors, getting a 14 lead. Dallas came back, they got 3 points. But that drive, there was really no major error, unless you consider the penalty against Aaron Kyle. And they lead 21-3. They put together a nice drive.
It was a good drive, as a matter of fact. I thought, really, if they went in at 14-3, Dallas would probably still come back and win. Now, at 21-3, I think it's going to be very difficult for Dallas to come back and win.
Alois Blackwell is deep with Larry Brinson. Rick Danmeyer will kick off for Minnesota. Interesting halftime coming your way. Some of the highlights of the season thus far. A squib along the ground. This will be the rookie from Houston, Blackwell. Look at flag is on. And I believe it's going to be a clip as Blackwell is down at the 38-yard line.
Could have been Guy Brown they got for clipping back there.
If so, another terrible break and another terrible mistake for Dallas. Yep, Frank called it.
20 seconds on the clock. Not all that tragic, but you can do a lot with 20 seconds.
Well, I'll tell you, had he broken for the TD, they're back in the games.
Personal foul, clipping, number 65.
I missed it.
Dave Stalls, special team player for Dallas, with a clip, and it's so easy to do, not intentionally really, when you're not sure where the running back is. Dallas has 20 seconds. They have Dorsett, Preston Pearson in the ball game. They have 3 timeouts, but they could maybe just decide to maintain possession and go back into the locker room and try and regroup. Yep, they are going to do just that as Preston Pearson gets the draw out of the shotgun. And he has a nifty gain of 8 yards out over the 35 to the 31, and the clock is going to wind down.
You wonder why you don't give it to Dorsett in a situation like that rather than Pearson if they're going to run a draw.
They will not get the play off. That's the end of the first half. 21-3, the Vikings over the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be ready for our halftime highlights after this message and a word from our local stations.
Going up that hill. No way.
Off-road is fun, but sometimes you run into an obstacle that only a true four-wheel drive vehicle can handle.
A Jeep CJ will give it a try.
The Jeep CJ, built rugged, tough, and tailor-made for terrain like this. It's easy to see the Jeep CJ was born and bred for four-wheeling. And there's even options like automatic transmission and a hardtop. Top that.
That was fun.
The Jeep CJ. We wrote the book on four-wheel drive.
Think of the most professional-looking sound system you can imagine. Think of the ideal place to house it. You're thinking of one of JCPenney's remarkable new MCS series audio rack systems. Now, think of an incredible everyday saving of over $300 when you purchase any of these component systems as a package. JCPenney's MCS series audio rack systems. Think of the sound. Think of the service. Think of the savings. You won't have to think again.
Sunday on Battlestar Galactica.
We have to turn back.
Apollo and Starbuck race against time to destroy the ultimate weapon. Then, a true story.
You always fly that low?
It couldn't happen,
This is your captain speaking. Welcome to sunny Miami.
but it did. Crash.
Sunday.
We're back at Texas Stadium. The score at halftime. Astonishingly, I guess, for fans around the nation, the Vikes 21, the Cowboys 3. Here's the way the scoring went. The Vikes, taking advantage of a turnover, scored first on a Foreman reception of a pass from Tarkenton, who's been brilliant. Then the Vikes scored again after still another Dallas turnover. Ricky Young on a 4-yard run, 14-0. Dallas adjusted to a new-look Minnesota offense and came on to put a field goal on the scoreboard on that Septien 25-yard field goal, 14-3. But with 3 minutes and 49 seconds left in the half, Tarkenton engendered another Minnesota drive that wound up with Sammy White on the receiving end of a 12-yard pass. Minnesota 21-3. Now tonight, our review of the season at the midway mark is being brought to you by Commercial Credit, a financial service of Control Data Corporation. We find ways to help. Suppose a fortune teller had told you that during the first half of the 78 NFL season, those Redskins would go unbeaten for 6 games. That the Giants and Jets would both be only 1 game out of first place in their respective divisions. That only 2 teams in the entire league would have a better record than Bart Starr's Green Bay Packers. If the prophet told you all that, you would have told him to have his eyes checked, but his foresight was 20/20. For the first half of the season has bounced around as crazily. Clearly, the passing game has been honed to a razor's edge, but the rules change that invited more throwing has extracted its toll on NFL quarterbacks. Despite the injuries, Terry Bradshaw told us last Monday night he thinks the quarterbacks are protected enough. His teammate Jack Lambert sarcastically suggested quarterbacks should wear dresses, but injuries have ruined several seasons. Kenny Anderson, the passing hand damaged before the season even began. The Bengals, as a result, 0-8. Burt Jones felled twice with shoulder injuries. The Colts 3 games behind the Pats. And controversy, a trademark of the first half of the season. It began with what the Chargers call the Immaculate Deception. The 3 fumbled forward play by Stabler and the Raiders for the winning touchdown against San Diego. You know, the officials have to make their decisions immediately. They don't have the advantage of slow-mo and instant replay. And so, in the Tampa Bay, Minnesota game, the officials ruled that Minnesota's Kevin Miller touched that football. Look at it again. The Buccaneers were allowed to recover Miller's alleged muff, went in for a clinching score. Then on the opening kickoff of sudden death, Cleveland at Pittsburgh, Larry Anderson getting the kickoff. Watch closely. He went down. The knee touched the ground, but no contact made with a Cleveland player. He got up. Then hit right there. The apparent fumble ruled not a fumble. The ball had been declared dead. And then this kind of play typifying the whole first half of the season. Spectacular in its nature. Keith Moody. Controversy a part of it, sure, but great plays, scrambled standings, missing quarterbacks, mayhem. As a result, well, the division races are the thing to look forward to now.
What does it take to run a business these days? To face unexpected problems and the disappointments. Competition from the big guys. It takes money to be ready for that big opportunity when it finally arrives. And Commercial Credit can respond to that need fast with a business loan, cash, to sustain your business. At Commercial Credit, we find ways to help.
Some experts put Dallas in the Super Bowl before the season even began. But those experts didn't reckon with a psyched-up Washington Redskin team that knocked them off in a Monday night matchup, and the Redskins took a 2-game lead in the NFC East. It was a 9-5 victory as the Redskins were all over the place on defense, and with juiced-up offense, Washington, to the elation of its coach, Jack Bardee, ran up a 6-game win streak to start the season. Typifying that kind of offense, this play, the flea flicker, and Weissman wound up throwing the Danny Bugs for a touchdown. But then, Washington surprised by the Eagles and by this team, the Giants. Doug Coder on a 31-yard burst, breaking that tackle by Houston and that one by Lavender. And the Giants beat the Redskins. Giants trail the Redskins and the Cowboys by only 1 game. Bart Starr's Green Bay Packers, the most surprising team of all, led by quarterback Dave Whitehurst from Furman and wide receiver Jimmy Lofton, number 80, from Stanford. So the Pack leads the NFC in scoring, and they lead the NFC in quarterback sacks too. They've been doing it all, but the Pack itself came a cropper just last Sunday against the Vikes and Fran Tarkenton and that man Ahmed Rashad. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, meanwhile, surprised the Vikes during the season, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very much in the thick of things in their division. The New York Jets, meantime, have been almost incredible in terms of surprise. They lost their brilliant young quarterback, Richard Todd. You'll see it right here. Ball popping out of his hands. But even when they lost Richard Todd, they did not come apart. They found another quarterback, an unsung youngster wearing number 17, Matt Robinson. And with a passing arm like this and some clever play calling designed to meet the opponent on his own terms, the Jets are in the thick of things at 5-3. Miami's Don Shula's had his share of tough luck. Bob Greasy out before the season even began, but number 10, Don Strock, doing a good job. And Delvin Williams, the leading rusher in the league, doing sensational work as evidenced by this extraordinary run against the New York Jets. But even with Greasy back, the Dolphins ran into the red-hot New England Patriots, and New England beat Miami in a showdown for first place in the division for the 6th time in 8 weeks. The Pats didn't know if they would win or lose late in the game. 4 times they've won. That was Harris Ivory with the game-winning touchdown against Miami. Twice they have lost, once in a Monday night thriller when the team scored 41 points in the final quarter. The man of the moment, Joe Washington of the Colts, that Monday night. He was totally versatile in his skills, like here, rolling left and then throwing the option pass deep downfield to Roger Carr, touchdown. But the coup de grace was administered by Washington here on a kickoff return, and a touchdown run that won the game for the injury-riddled Baltimore Colts. Colts didn't stop with that upset, however. On Upset Sunday, this past Sunday, they shocked the Denver Broncos. Tommy Jackson tipping the pass, Glenn Doughty picking it off, and the Colts hung on for a 7-6 victory. Oakland having a tough halftime fell to Seattle 27-7. Oakland and Denver now lead the AFC West by just one game over Seattle. But they've been upsettable all year, and John Madden is very upset with the Raiders' unsteady play. Two teams that looked like they might not lose all year also went down. The Rams to the New Orleans Saints when Manning threw to Galbraith and went down the sideline for the game-winning touchdown. And then the last time you looked at Earl Campbell on a Monday night, you saw this just last Monday. Campbell spurting for 3 touchdowns as Houston upset the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-17. So after 8 weeks of this extraordinary season, there are no longer any undefeated teams, but Pittsburgh and Los Angeles presently on top. So they're heading for a showdown, those two teams, a couple of weeks hence, right here on ABC. If the season holds true to form, it'll be a season that no one will want to miss. Game by game down the road. And the pivot game at this moment, LA against Pittsburgh.
You ever notice just when you think you've finally caught up with bills, another expense crops up? Major house repair. Braces for your child's teeth. The old car breaks down. There's just no end to it. When you need money for any good reason, see Commercial Credit. The company that lends millions to help business lends even more to help people. If you need a loan, Commercial Credit will find ways to help.
And if you've just joined us, we are also surprised. The Minnesota Vikings coming out with a spread offense. Francis Tarkenton has been near perfect. And at halftime, the score is Minnesota 21, Dallas 3. This special edition of ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Datsun, who invite you to experience the performance, quality, and luxury of the all-new 280 ZX at your Datsun dealer now. We'll be ready for the second half kickoff after a word from our local stations.
Friday, it's Donnie and Marie in a salute to the swing era with Ruth Buzzy, Sherman Hemsley, and Lassie. Then, the screen's strangest, most terrifying love story.
I killed her.
He wanted a second chance at love, but had she returned for revenge? Obsession. Tomorrow.
That'll make you nervous, do it, Shake?
You've heard the cliche many times. The teams are going to the locker room to talk it over and get regrouped, and you better believe that's what happened to Dallas. This man, Fran Tarkenton, using a spread offense, was sensational. And, of course, he had a great deal of help from the Cowboys themselves. They made 2 key errors at the very beginning of the game. Brinson fumble of a kickoff, the opening kickoff, 7 points Minnesota. Dorsett fumbled right after that, another 7. And Dallas is wondering what hit them. First of all, they've been doing the right thing with that spread offense, Don and Howard. That is shooting your linebackers, coming with the safety blitz, but Fran Tarkenton is probably the toughest quarterback in football to blitz against because he moves around, he reads it well, he's seen everything there is to be seen in football over 18 years, and he has been most effective.
You're right about that, and there's more perhaps that we'll be seeing, because at the very beginning of our telecast tonight, we told you we expected to see a lot of men in motion tonight in the Minnesota offense. We've seen the spread, which was a new look at the beginning, and we may see more new looks. In the meantime, Dallas adjusted, but it was, in the first half at least, a question of too little too late, and Tarkenton came back with the big score just before the half ended.
Raphael Septien, who kicked for the Rams last year, set to kick off now for Dallas. Deep, you saw Kevin Miller. Miller will have the opportunity from the 2-yard line. And Miller out over the 20 to the 22-yard line, hustling down there. Larry Brinson to make the stop for Dallas.
Talk has to be thinking 2 things. Let's not make any mistakes. No turnovers if we can avoid them in the second half. But let's not suddenly grow conservative, because Dallas is the Super Bowl champion team, is explosive. So let's try to keep surprising them and keep that ball.
The last one probably is most important, Howard. So many times we've seen teams get a big lead. They sit on it. The other team gets the momentum. They can't regain theirs. And all of a sudden, they're battling for their lives. 1st and 10, Minnesota. Their own 22-yard line. Parkinson has Foreman wide open. Flag is down, and Foreman is down at the 25 as he cuts back looking for an opening. D.D. Lewis made the stop, but a flag is down.
First thing I think you can see is that they did not go back to a different kind of offensive formation set against Dallas, he says.
Illegal check against Dallas.
So really what you guys are saying, at least they're going to come out and say, okay, we don't think you've stopped it well enough, so we're going to keep giving you some more of the same. I think that's a smart move.
Right. Now, look at the halftime stats. The time of possession is not that much difference. The key, the 2 early turnovers, the Brinson fumble, and then the subsequent one by Dorsett. And Minnesota could move in quickly. And that's what set it up.
Automatic first down. Ball now situated just inside the 27-yard line. Line up in the stacked eye, and they'll split out of it. There they go. Tucker way right. Rashad moves out. Sammy White is in the slot. The handoff. Chuck Foreman, and he breaks one tackle and gets out over the 32-yard line, getting away from Jethro Pugh. For a gain of 4, it'll be 2nd down and 6. Ed Jones made the stop. Defensively, it's Jones and Jethro Pugh, Randy White, Larry Bethea. The front 4, the middle linebacker Bob Bruni, Tom Henderson, and D.D. Lewis, the outside linebackers, Aaron Kyle, Cliff Harris, Charlie Waters, Benny Barnes. Defensive set for the Dallas Cowboys. Tarkenton, of course, in there along with Ricky Young and Chuck Foreman. Foreman 44, Rick Young 34. Foreman gets the call and turns back to the inside as he does so well and picks up 4 yards. Smart. 3rd down and about a yard.
Smart play calling, I think, Frank. When they reverse the roles, what everybody says, this is the way you run an offense. You pass just enough to keep him off balance. He's running just enough to keep him off balance. Foreman seems to be a little bit shaken up on that play. As Howard mentioned at the top of the show, he had a knee and an ankle. So take your pick. It could be one of them. Neither one of them are not good. But he has used Foreman well on the quick traps, draws, the little quick hitting plays. They're not really trying to establish a running game. They're trying to keep that passing game going. You see now the big guys come in. They're going into a short yardage situation, 3rd and less than a yard or about a yard.
Foreman walks off, moves over to the sidelines. He'll be administered treatment there. And into the ball game comes Sammy Johnson, number 48. Johnson, of course, has only carried the football one time this year. Came from San Francisco a couple of years ago in a trade that sent wide receiver Jim Lash to the 49ers. 48 is Sammy Johnson. 3rd down, less than a yard. Ups, and you saw number 84, Craig in motion. Tarkenton still in trouble. And what a clever little man he is, even though the penalty is going to go against Minnesota, I do believe. Tarkenton, nevertheless, just hung it up in the direction of the receiver and got it out of bounds. Benny Barnes, by the way, was blitzing Tarkenton.
Well, Steve Craig killed off the play. Number 84, the tight end from Northwestern, who in perfect candor, while a very intelligent young man, and he's pursuing his masters, has never materialized into what they thought he would. Watch the bottom of your screen, lower left. That was great. So,
penalty, decline, 4th down. Minnesota will punt. And that could help the Cowboys. They held the Vikings. And into the ball game comes Tony Hill. Number 8 comes in for Minnesota. That's Greg Coleman. He kicked a spectacular punt in his first effort, and then he hit one low, the kind that you can run back. It's an end in the over job, and taken at the 27 by Tony Hill. And Hill out to the 41-yard line. Good return. Scott Studwell got down there to make the stop for Minnesota, but Dallas has good field position. They need it. They trailed 21-3.
Why are truck shoppers everywhere deciding on Datsun?
I felt that Datsun was about the best buy. I got the King cab. You simply lift this latch, and the back space is exposed. The air cleaner, you can see it's got an enamel finish inside. The oil fill, it has a screw top. It's just a small feature that points to quality. This is 5-speed, 4 efficiency. I expect to get about 28 miles to the gallon.
Datsun trucks at year-end prices. See your Datsun dealer today.
When I've got to catch a leader like Ben Crenshaw, I count on my Canon AE1. It's fully automatic, so I can concentrate on my subject. Yet it's one automatic camera that's made to meet the strictest professional standards. Try it, Ben. Are you kidding? The AE1 is so easy to use, you know you won't miss a shot. About all you do is focus and click.
The surprisingly affordable Canon AE1. So advanced, it's simple.
Saturday, Colorado, Missouri headlines an action-filled lineup of regional games. Check local listings for NCAA college football on ABC.
Number 79, Harvey Martin. You'll not see him in action again tonight. Maybe it's the brace on the right knee, but the right thigh is tightened up, obviously a muscle condition. He'll not be back tonight.
Preston Pearson is in, 2 tight ends, Jackie Smith, 81, Billy Joe Dupree. This is Jackie Smith. Robert Newhouse. And Newhouse taken down right on the line of scrimmage. Carl Eller slipped over from defensive left end, made the stop, and then he got a lot of help from his friends. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Now the specialty units change on the field. Out goes Pearson. Here comes Tony Hill, and it looked like a fire drill out there.
It's comical. You know, you got one team that runs first down, another team runs second, another one runs third.
And you're down 21-3.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Let's stay in unison, guys.
Staubach, straight drop back. Tony Hill is open.
Oh, he missed.
And a poorly thrown ball. Hill was really open. Tom Hannon got over there because the ball was thrown late and hung up there forever.
I think it's a missed coverage. I don't think he can get out that open unless somebody just failed to go back and cover, and he slipped in behind. That could be the safety, and Hannon did do a good job of coming over.
He really did. He deserves a lot of credit. That's the 2nd time tonight we've seen Hannon come in from nowhere. Watch the play again, Don.
Well, I think we were right. Hannon did come over from his free safety, so maybe that was just his position. They're going to let him go deep, and Hannon's job is to cover that deep center field area.
Prevent defense. Paul crosses in defensively for Minnesota. 3rd down and 10. Out of the shotgun. Billy Joe Dupree, wide open, and he's hit, drops the ball. Incomplete. Never had control of the ball, and coming up with the football is number 45, but it was signaled instantly as Billy Joe Dupree collided with Jeff Seaman that it was incomplete.
Well, that's another revealing series of downs. Dallas had the ball with excellent field position, and if they wanted to get back into the game, then was the time to make their move. They failed to do so.
Speaking of Danny Reeves before the game, the offensive coordinator here in Dallas, he said that, you know, it sounds cliche-ish, but says we've got to do something on 1st down. That last series, they ran Newhouse off tackle for about a yard.
Danny White hangs it high. He's having a great year. Kevin Miller at the 15. And when you put that ball that high in the air, your specialty defensive unit can get down under it. That's what Dallas did. Minnesota will have a 1st and 10 inside their own 16-yard line when we return.
When you take off on a Trans-International Airlines charter flight, you're taking off with us.
When you go to see a United Artists movie, you're going to the movies with us.
When you come to budget to rent a car, you're coming to us.
We're Transamerica, the people in the pyramid. We serve you through many different companies, but we stand for just one thing: first-rate service at a fair price. From every Transamerica company, every time.
Take any razor available in America. Now there's an electric shaver that will shave as close or your money back. The Remington XLR. Remington can guarantee a close shave because of our unique 3-part system. The first head shaves close, the second closer. The exclusive Intercept cutter is designed to shave longer hairs. The Remington XLR. It shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Available at over 1,300 Kmart stores across the USA.
You gotta go, you may as well go first class, right?
That's right.
Sunday, the crash.
Now, Dallas football fans come in all shapes and sizes. As a little loyalist. Minnesota, first and 10, 21-3. They lead, 12:07 remaining in the third quarter. They have the ball inside their own 16-yard line. Chuck Foreman back in the game. Tarkenton back to the air. Foreman. And the little dink over the middle, and Foreman takes a 5-yard pass and turns it into an 8-yard gain. Billy Barnes made the stop.
Right there, you got an indication of the fact that Tarkenton's not going to sit on that lead. He wants to keep using that clock throughout the second half, eating it up, keeping possession of the ball. Controlled football, but not conservative in the sense of sticking to the run.
You know, he's not throwing anything dangerous at all. I mean, he knows exactly where it's going. 4-yard passes, 5-yard passes.
Yeah, that's his conservative game right there. He's just not going to try to put it up deep or down the middle. He's trying to hit those little short ones, keep that drive going.
Out of the double wing spread, I guess you could call it. And lunging forward, Chuck Foreman. That's the first down.
That's a good effort by Foreman on a bad knee and ankle, as we mentioned earlier. Just came back in. I think he gave that extra effort, picked up a first down. Looks like it from up here.
He sure did, Don. He's a tremendous football player. He's a tremendous athlete.
It's hard to imagine a guy like that in a backfield that's the 28th team, in rushing in the National Football League, just alone. But the fact that he has been hurt, I'm sure has hammered it. But Ricky Young is certainly no slouch either. So they go to their offensive line. They're building. They're young. They don't really feel they're really mature enough to push anybody out. So therefore, they haven't run well.
The first and 10 is inside the 27 of Minnesota. Foreman again, the little dink. And they just playing this kind of game, hoping for missed tackles, and that time Bob Bruning did not miss. Made the stop right at the line of scrimmage.
You're talking about Brad's interception record. I don't know, Howard, Frank, one of y'all talked about a while ago. He hasn't thrown an interception in the last few games, but he has thrown 12 this year.
In the first 3 games, he was being intercepted, and that's when they were screaming in Bloomington and Minneapolis, St. Paul, the great Twin Cities. It's over. Get rid of him. But going into this game, he had thrown about 1 intercept in his last 116 passes. Let's face it, the man is one of the greatest of all time. And let's face it, that man is one of the great coaches, and Staubach is himself one of the great quarterbacks.
Second and 10, look for the blitz. Randy Hughes is up close. Benny Barnes up close. They all come. Tarkenton reads it, hands off to Foreman, and it's a 3-yard loss.
He didn't read it real well, did he, Frank? But he did read it. He said, that's trouble. The thing you have, he only had one back there. And a lot of times you get in that situation, you don't have any other audibles. They don't work from that formation. So he only had what he had, he did with it.
Well, what's significant here, Frank, is the Tar can't keep them moving. The Dallas defense is coming to life.
Third down and 13. It's a passing down, but again, you can bet that Tarkenton is going to be very careful with it.
I think that's the key. That's the point I was trying to make with his interception. Just as long as he doesn't throw interceptions.
Dallas moves up and threatens the blitz again. This time they drop out for the coverage. Reading what he thought was the blitz, Tarkenton tries to go deep, looking for individual coverage on Rashad, but Aaron Kyle was there along with Randy Hughes. Fourth down, Minnesota must punt. The crowd comes to life. They've been kind of sitting here in stunned silence all night.
9:02 left in the third quarter. Time for Dallas, if they're to get back into things, to start to make a move.
And they should have good field position. Greg Coleman punting. Tony Hill, there he is, a dangerous receiver and a punt return man, standing at his own 38-yard line. Oh, and a good kick by Coleman, and drives Hill back close to his 20-yard line where he takes it over his shoulder. And a good return by Hill as he moves out to the 37-yard line, hit there by Scott Studwell. Dallas will have a first and 10.
I loved it. You know, the thing that catch that Hill made of the punt saved the Cowboys approximately 35 yards. Just the catch of the punt going over his shoulder. A lot of guys would have let it go. We've commented in an earlier broadcast of Dallas that he has this great ability to adjust the passes downfield. The punt's not too unlike a pass. You see an injured player. Ooh, I hate to see him go off in there. Nate Allen's going off. But Hill caught that punt, came back, gave Dallas fairly good field position when it could have been down inside the 10.
He's really given them an extra dimension, not taking anything away from Golden Richards, but he can do a lot of things that Golden couldn't do. Of course, Golden has helped the Chicago Bears, but he is the reason the Golden Richards is now playing with Chicago. On 1st and 10, Staubach goes out to Drew Pearson, and Drew Pearson breaks the tackle and gets a first down close to midfield.
Dallas has really never, for some reason, seemed to get this thing saying, okay, go on, let's run our offense.
His first reception of the night. Oh, what a gifted man he is. Little free agent, came up at 73. He has just been sensational. That's his 266th reception. He just doesn't drop it. All right, they mark it at the 48-yard line. Dallas down 21-3. Newhouse gets to midfield. That's it. Corralled there by Jeff Seaman. A gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Yeah, but I like what Staubach and Landry are doing here. Plays being sent in, of course. There's no sign of panic. They still have almost 23 minutes left of a ball game. And you viewers of NFL football know what can happen in that amount of time.
Dorsett, inside handoff, big opening, and he breaks it down to the 35-yard line. First down, Dallas. Little trap block. Dorsett turned on the acceleration like really no one right now in this game has. Let's watch it again. There's the trap. 68. That's Herb Scott with a good block. Wasted really as Dorsett was gone.
Had the referee not been there, Tom Hensley, he'd have picked up 5 more. He had to get rid of him first.
Well, that was exactly the point I meant about not panicking. Staying with the ground game when they think it's right.
1st and 10, just short of the 35-yard line. Dallas driving. Inside to Robert Newhouse, and Newhouse 2, maybe 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Jeff Seaman again on the stop with Phil Wise, number 29.
Phil Wise, you don't hear that name often. I was in the Jets drafting room when they picked him. There was a big debate about him. Weeb Eubank was coaching at the time. A kid from Nebraska at Omaha. And I heard an impassioned plea made for his athletic abilities. The plea prevailed. That's how he came into the NFL. Good player.
Drew Pearson goes right. Tony Hill to the left. 2nd down and 7. Roger goes for Pearson, and he tries to one-hand it, but no ways you're going to get that one. Nate Wright covering. Staubach get there by blitzing linebacker Matt Blair. Now, moving it on the ground, they go to the air, and they find themselves in a 3rd down and 7 situation.
That's the old peanut man. Dandy, in your pregame interview with Roger emphasized, and I mention this point because the Minnesota secondary has frequently been downgraded, how their experience enables them to play the zone so well.
That's true.
3rd down, 7. Staubach, Billy Joe Dupree holds on, 1st down inside the 20. Staubach with all the time in the world, no pass rush. He just waited for Dupree to hook up with plenty of yardage for the 1st down and clear the linebackers, and he drilled it in there.
Slow developing pattern. Dupree got downfield about 12, 14, 15 yards. There were some defensive linebackers and secondary men in the area. I think the key, Frank, is what you touched on. He had time to wait for him to uncover.
And another key thing, you can't contain this Dallas team forever, no matter how great your defense is.
Seconds ticking off the 3rd quarter clock. 5:20, and the clock is moving. Screen to the flanker, Tony Hill, and he breaks the tackle.
Oh, he missed the tackle.
Tony Hill, inside the 1-yard line, broke the tackle, at the 15 by Tom Hannon and did the rest on his own. And Dallas in the first and goal inside the 1. What a great effort.
They had a blitz coming that time. The linebacker's going to the inside. You take a look right there. Fred McNeil comes in, flips out in front. It's got Pat Donovan out there in front. That was a missed tackle, Frank. Give Hill credit, but that he should have been tackled that time. They had him pretty well. Good angles, boxed in right there. You ought to have him. Hit him too high, split over the top.
First and goal. Dallas, 3 points on the scoreboard. Directing. An explosive team, and they get in the right gear. Flag is down. Newhouse is in the end zone. The official has dropped the flag, single touchdown, so it would appear to be going against Minnesota.
Absolutely. Now that's the Dallas team we've all grown accustomed to. The penalty against Minnesota, as Frank said, declined, and Dallas gets its first touchdown on the board. 5:07 left in the third quarter, and it's a football game again. The next test, Minnesota. Will they be able to keep the football and move it against Dallas?
And if they don't move it, they're going to be in trouble. Raphael Septiar for the conversion. Long count. Good. The Cowboys finally got on the right track. Time for the touchdown. They shortened the Vikings lead to 21-10. We have 5:07 remaining in the third quarter, and we'll be right back.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind
Did Frank burn the trout yet?
No, but we're ready.
Okay, you guys, knock it off. I don't believe it. And a little something to go with it.
Lowenbrow.
Lowenbrow. And you guys don't deserve it, but my trout does.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Well,
Frank, we apologize. The beer's terrific.
Rejoice! A totally new Z-Car. The new Datsun 280ZX. Plush velour cockpit. Computerized safety check. Power steering. 5-speed with cruise control. 4-speaker stereo. 4-wheel disc brakes. Here's luxury and performance found in cars costing thousands more. Datsun's new ZX is awesome.
Los Angeles Rams battle the Atlanta Falcons Monday night on ABC.
And preceding our game, Terror in the Promised Land on ABC News Close-Up, Monday night at 8 Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central Time. This program includes an exclusive and close-up look at the Palestinian suicide squad's training for terrorist missions and interviews with PLO terrorist leaders. A hard look at the most difficult obstacle to reach peace in the Middle East. Terror in the Promised Land, Monday night on ABC. Is Kevin Miller. And Miller is pounded at the 30 and knocked back to the 32. And while we were away, we were just discussing the fact that Dallas all of a sudden has begun to move the football. They're the #1 offensive team in the entire NFL. They were stumbling all over the place in the first half. Now they seem to have got things together, and this is a big series of downs.
It sure is.
The Vikings.
Fans know that too, don't they?
And that Dallas defense is aware of it, too. They have totally disregarded the run. They're just after the man who wears number 10. And a good defensive play by Benny Barnes against Sammy White. Jars the ball loose.
This is a very big game for Benny Barnes because, as you know, Don, he had surgery, out a long time. Faces a problem where he has to almost reprove himself.
I walked into the locker room yesterday, the training room, and I sat there and I was talking to Benny. I looked down his foot. He had 3 needles sticking in his foot. Well, I hate needles and almost passed out, but a lot of it, they started using acupuncture last year, and that's what he had on his foot yesterday. Does it 3 times a week.
2nd and 10. No blitz. Incomplete. Benny Barnes had a golden opportunity.
Pass was thrown so quickly, Frank, nobody had a look at it. Fran, I think, read that blitz coming up in the middle. He was just getting rid of it.
Well, that shot Chet Forney just took of Fran Tarkenton was revealing. When you've been around as long as Fran, when you're as skilled as he is, you know situations. You sense them instinctively. He knows he has to hold his team together, not fall prey to the crowd, and somehow keep that ball. But this is a key third down play.
3rd and 10, and nobody knows it better than the Dallas defense. Hawkinson dinks it to Foreman. He one-hands it short of the first down at the 39-yard line.
Oh, boy.
That was nice.
They're less than a yard away from a first down. And they're going to punt. They're going to punt. Waters down.
Charlie Waters is down on the field. The all-pro safety, strong safety for Dallas, is down at the 38-yard line. He'll be treated there.
I would really kind of like to see that pass again, because once again it'll say he got the dadgum ball off. He was going to his left, just flipped around on the side. Foreman again. We'll take another quick look at it. You see Randy White. They're double teaming Randy. One of them got him from the back, but I guess that was not that clipping zone. Good catch by Foreman, by the way.
And you saw the way that Charlie Waters was shaken up. He was hit by his own man. We'll be back in just a moment.
Way back in 1911, the only place Harvey Firestone could take his tires to be really tested was Indianapolis, where a bunch of young fellows were starting to race cars. Well, Harvey took his tires to Indianapolis, and every summer he learned a little bit more about them. In fact, he learned so much that 48 Indianapolis winners rode on Firestone. Today, at Firestone's Proving Ground, Fort Stockton, Texas, there are no cheering crowds, but the object is the same. Learn more about tires. Firestone's 721 steel belted radio is a result of that kind of learning. It took 5 million miles of testing to develop the 721. The tire Harvey Firestone would have been proud of. Because, you know, he always wanted Firestone products to be the best today and still better tomorrow.
Charlie Waters, in a collision with his own man, got up, walked off the field under his own power. A little Ronia and Hela. Tony Hill has dropped deep for the Cowboys at his own 23-yard line. There he is. Greg Coleman will punt for Minnesota. Coleman hit a beauty. And it bounds into the end zone. Dallas will have a 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. A 61-yard punt by this young man, Greg Coleman, who has been impressive. He had a 62-yard punt earlier in the game.
But meanwhile, Dallas did what it had to do, and you can see that the whole momentum of this game has swung. Fran couldn't get the one first down that he wanted to begin to muster a Minnesota offense and to consume the clock. Dallas needs 2 touchdowns to go ahead. And Dallas is really moving.
4:07 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Plenty of time. Dallas not rushed into a panic situation. Dorsett drops the football, and he is hit by Bobby Bryant.
Nowhere to go had he caught it. Defense did a good job of reading that play.
Not only that, an instant sooner, and Bryant could have intercepted and jaunted in for the score.
Just jaunted in there and picked up 6.
2nd down and 10. And again, Don, as you mentioned earlier, Dallas unable to do anything with the first down. They got themselves in trouble where they have to go for it. Dorsett finds a little opening that's been there all night long. Moves behind the trap block. Sometimes he just runs ahead of it. He's so quick. Picks up 8 yards. Will be 3rd down and 2. White made the stop for Minnesota.
Good call, but a big play coming up. Dallas, from their point of view, has to keep it going. Must. 3:37 left and counting down in the 3rd quarter. 21-10, Minnesota.
Short yardage offense. Dorsett.
No.
And a beautiful tackle, Jeff Seaman.
Oh, boy. That was a biggie. Nice job by Seaman. He read that play on the well. Newhouse was out in front. Somebody up in that line is supposed to cut him down. He got in there too clean.
Well, they're not playing against statues, and we have emphasized all year long from the preseason when we had Minnesota twice that Minnesota's greatest defensive strength is lodged in those three still young linebackers, Seaman and Flair and McNeil, and they came through then. So the momentum swings.
Kevin Miller, Danny White will punt for Dallas, and he dribbles another one high that Kevin Miller will have to call for and make a fair catch at the 27-yard line. And when you can kick the ball 46 yards and force your safety man to call for a fair catch, well, you are really booting the football.
There are the standings coming into this game, the NFC Eastern Division. Dallas and Washington tied. So you can see that as of this moment, and this game remains far from over, there is joy at the moment in Washington and in New York and in Philadelphia. And for Minnesota, a refusal to knuckle under, despite early unexpected losses to New Orleans and to Tampa.
Serious football going on here in Texas Stadium. 21-10, the Vikings over the Cowboys. On 1st and 10, Tarkenton throws one of his first long passes of the night. Intended for Sammy White. Good coverage. Benny Barnes was back there, getting help from Cliff Harris.
What does that tell you, Frank? When he stayed, you see him dink him and dunk. He said, wait a minute. They're on to me. I'm going to go for the bomb.
I'm going to back them up, and I'm going to come back with my dink game right now.
There you go.
Okay, maybe so. In the meantime, Fran has already thrown 30 passes. Remember the statistic we mentioned in the very first game of the year. No team in the NFL won a game last year that threw 40 or more passes. Fran has already thrown 30.
I'd throw 9 more and sit on it.
2nd and 10. Dallas. No blitz. The handoff, and it goes to Foreman, short of the first down, of course. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
But he got a big hole, and that was the time to run. And they did the right thing, not going to the dink pass.
You see that Ron here comes, gets a good arm hold on Larry Cole. Holds him in there. It was a big hole. They hit to the outside. A little influence blocked by the guard. Ron Yeri comes down. They filled it in. 3rd down and what? Long 3?
3rd and long 3. It'll be a pass to Tarkenton stays with the way he's been going all night long. And he looks for Foreman in so many instances as this.
And there he goes.
Changes up, and Foreman gets the first down near the 40-yard line.
So, Tarkenton again becomes the master, at least for the moment. If this is a shifting tide and an ebb and flow, to use a phrase that we've used before, it's only because that's the way it is.
Inside 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter. A lot of credit to a very gutsy Minnesota team. Total lack of a running game coming in tonight, playing the Cowboys to a standstill both offensively and defensively. Chuck Foreman. And Foreman is pounded down by Randy White after a pickup of 7.
Let's go back to Frank's pregame interview with Fran Tarkenton. We will pass and pass and pass, but we will also run some. And now, with the Cowboys fired up and ready to pour in, firing in on the pass, Fran is running some at exactly the right time, Frank.
Isn't he clever? Oh, Fran is clever.
2nd down 3, the ball at the 47-yard line of the Vikings. Ricky Young. And I believe he'll be short of the first down. He had to get just to midfield. Bob Brunig driving him back. Jethro Pugh also in on the stop.
This is that 3rd and short situation. The last time that we saw them in it, this was when they were offside, and Fran did call a play fake. He was trying to hit someone deep. I would say that this time, he's got to get his first down. He's way ahead. He just didn't want Dallas to have the ball.
He's chewing up the clock. 6 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Should be just inches short. Gave Fran a chance to call for the measurement, gave him a chance to give it some thought. Maybe glanced to the sidelines, even though he calls his own plays.
The Cowboys have not really been a big fourth quarter team this year. They've only scored 3 points in the fourth quarter through 8 ball games. But they have allowed their opponents no points in the fourth quarter,
which is not a bad balance.
But 3-0 still keeps Minnesota ahead.
And there's the gun. You're watching another exclusive of ABC Sports. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, 21-10, Minnesota over Dallas. We'll return for the fourth quarter in just a moment.
Saturday college football excitement. Colorado tackles Missouri. Arizona State battles Washington. Purdue takes on Iowa, plus other games. Check local listings for NCAA football. And on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Nadia Comaneci in the World Gymnastics Championship. Sports Action Saturday.
How about if I blow in your ear? No. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Welcome, ABC. Don Frankenhoward smiled, Tom. Let Roger do the thinking. Now, I wonder who wrote. You think that Roger's wife wrote that? Marianne would put that up there, would she?
Tom pacing the sidelines as we begin the fourth quarter. Minnesota has a third down, inches to go. The ball just short of midfield. They have a 21-10 lead. They got off to a quick start. 2 Cowboy errors, 14 points for the Vikings. Barman. They'll mark it at midfield. He'll have a first down.
He got it. You saw him go over the top, get pushed back, but going over the top, he got it.
Headlines been marking the ball. As a matter of fact, inside, well, right at the 50-yard line. That's all they had to reach, though.
You know, I gave you some wrong stats on that 3-0. That was in the overtime. See, I'm looking at, I should never look at these figures because that's overtime. What they've really done, they've scored 36 points in the fourth quarter, and their opponents have scored 27. I say things like that just to see if anybody's paying attention.
I understand. Meantime, they still have the edge.
Yeah.
The balance sheet's in their favor.
Yeah, you're right. Well, they shouldn't give me those things. It confuses me.
First and 10, the ball right at midfield. Robert Miller's in the lineup now. He wears number 35. Parkinson dancing around. Complete. But he avoided the sack. In the general direction of Ahmad Rashad, but it was really just to get rid of the football and avoid the sack.
Well, the third quarter stats. Minnesota still with a domination in first downs. Yards rushing almost even. Passing favoring Minnesota. Total yards. The key still the early turnovers. Number 17 in our programs. Number 1 in our hearts.
Oh,
and
thank you.
John Meredith is back home.
Lovely taste down in this area. So he makes mistakes. Yes, sir.
Second down and 10. Draw play, Foreman. And good collapsing defense, and a flag goes down. Foreman down to the line of scrimmage.
I think I saw one of the most visible.
Randy White, Bob Bruning, holding against Minnesota. That'll hurt them.
Now, his injury. I mean, you've seen Foreman with that much room where he can really come out, and he's bringing himself out. He's just really not running full speed. You could see that, or I felt I could anyway, that there was just a little bit of hesitation when ordinarily that acceleration would come and Foreman would be to the outside.
That's true, but under any circumstances, a holding penalty against Minnesota.
Holding, number 68, offense. Second down.
Charles Goodrum, the left guard, holding against Minnesota. It's going to be second down and 20.
Now that's the kind of mistake when you're a team holding on against a team that's coming strong you just can't afford.
Sammy Johnson comes in for Chuck Foreman. Johnson wears number 48. Dallas, of course, loves to blitz on second and long yardage. Henderson is up 20. Sammy Johnson Johnson, and he's finally brought down, but he erupts all the way out to the 43-yard line. It's going to be third down now and 3. Good call again. Dallas thinking nothing but pass, opened up the lanes, the draw set up, and it really worked.
I'd say those Vikings have been watching some film up there in Minnesota.
I'll say this.
They knew what was going to happen that time.
He's been around 18 years. Watch this.
Well, really, they're going inside Bethea, and that was just a kind of a little kiss-out block on the outside just to get him out there, but they collapsed the middle. Bethea didn't close it down, and it was a big hole.
Johnson, his second carry of the year. Third and 3. Parkinson going for 6. And is taken long bounds by Sammy White. It could have been 6 easy.
It could have been easily.
Well,
so a key break goes for Dallas in this game that is so instantly shifting. But I'll tell you this. We've watched a lot of football in our time, and that Fran Tarkenton has to be one of the all-time greats. They can write him off. I'll tell you right now, he'll be back next year. There's no way he won't.
He told me today, I was kidding him about it. He said, oh, they wrote me off when I was 27. Here's Greg Coleman. Tony Hill is waiting back at the 10, but Coleman, of course, will angle for the out of bounds. He led the NFL in that category last year with Cleveland. There's a nifty touch. And down on the 1-yard line.
That's down.
Good effort. Hustling down there was Nate Allen.
I can tell by the reaction that Nate Allen says, oh, no, man, he's calling it a touchback. Or is it? Yep.
Up there saying, he got into the end zone. Allen says no, but the official says touchback. It'll be at the 20. Dallas will have the ball when we return.
Why are car shoppers everywhere deciding on the Datsun B210?
For the money you spend and what you get in return, it's a super deal.
I'm going to get some of the best gas mileage of any car that's on the market today.
The car came with everything that I wanted.
We found that the Datsun was the best for the money.
The economy. It gets great gas mileage.
And I think I've got more car for the money than I've invested.
Datsun B210s at year-end prices. See your Datsun dealer today.
By noon, you bring down enough timber to put up a small town. You got one tool, a chainsaw, and it's your bread and butter. On the bar, it says Homelight, but out here, it's the Chainsaw King. And right now, you can buy the King. The Homelight XL at a king-size savings. Or choose one of 4 other Homelights and get this rugged carry case free. From Homelight, the Chainsaw King.
Interesting speculation about using cameras to determine calls. Watch this. For all intent and purposes, it looks like the ball held by Nate Allen never gets into the end zone. But again, keep in mind, our camera angle is shooting from somewhere around the 30-yard line. The official right on top of it, he rules a touchback. And you have to believe that it is a touchback because he was right there.
Well, it's easy to second guess, but Nate should have batted the ball back instead of picking it up with his momentum carrying him into the end zone.
21-10. The Cowboys have the football. First and 10, their own 20-yard line. 13:25 remaining in the game. This is Dorsett. And Dorsett corralled there by Nate Wright. And the crowd unhappy perhaps with Dorsett's actions of the last week. Missing practice on Saturday, being benched on Sunday. Gives him a little boo. He, of course, had a fumble early in the game that set up the Vikings' second touchdown.
In perspective, this is NFL excitement at its best. It is not NFL play at its best because of the early Dallas deficiency. But now you've got 2 emotional, fired-up football teams, and thus the excitement because we've still got a game.
Second and 10. Back. Again, a lot of time, but no receiver.
They're all too deep.
Newhouse. And boy, Newhouse is pounded by Matt Blair, number 59. Right at the line of scrimmage.
It was a very tough pattern. He had everybody too deep. Didn't have a secondary pattern to come on to somewhere in the middle zones. If they got the deep man covered and you're back there trying to throw, and they've guessed right with you or just happen to make good defensive plays, puts you in a lot of pressure.
With 12 minutes left, Dallas simply must get this first down from their point of view and get a drive started. because they still need 2 touchdowns. A touchdown and a field goal will not do it.
3rd down, 10. Preston Pearson is in. He's in the slot. Roger on the 9-8 of 15 for 101 yards. Back. Drew Pearson at the 47-yard line. First down.
And Dallas did it. Dallas did it because of the individual brilliance of Drew Pearson, which has been talked about so many times.
I've got to also say, Staubach, too. He had some pressure. It came open late, came up in the inside, laid it there perfectly. Pearson did make an excellent move to come into the inside and catch that ball. My gosh, 3rd down and 10.
Now watch Pearson again and watch what he does to Bill Wise. He's cutting across. Bill Wise played him cautiously.
They were in a zone. They were trying to give him those deep areas on the outside. He came in the middle, caught him where it's tough.
11 minutes remaining in the game. Dallas trailing 21-10. Staubach to the air. Tony Hill, incomplete.
Clearly, Tony Hill was out of bounds. The crowd is booing, but that's emotion, that's partisanship. Clearly, he was out of bounds when he received the pass. A perfectly proper call. Watch it again.
Good throw again. Rogers hit 2 in a row. That one was drilled in there. Tony was a little bit too close to the sideline. In a way, that's receiver's responsibility to know where he is. He's inbound with 1 foot. He just got a little bit too close to the outside.
Remember, both feet must be inbounds in the professional ranks.
2nd and 10. Staubach. Tony Hill. Hill dropped, but not until he reaches the 47-yard line of the Vikings. It is a gain of 7.
Bill Wise, knowing Hill's ability to run with the football, because the action first begins as you look at the scoreboard clock. When Tony receives the ball, played him wisely then. Laid about 2 yards off him, moved in for the tackle.
Mark Mullaney comes in for the first time that we have seen him tonight, number 77. He was hospitalized over the weekend, 77 for the Minnesota Vikings with a viral infection. He's a good pass rusher. 3rd down, a long 3. Seconds ticking away for the Cowboys. And Drew Pearson was there. Roger misses, but he was under pressure.
Not that much. That was too high. It wasn't thrown that well. I would try to get the ball to Dorsett. I don't care if they're booing him or what he is. He's the game breaker back there. Pearson is the other one. He's throwing to Pearson. Overthrew him that time. Tony Hill is also a good one, but I'd try to get the ball somehow to Tony Dorsett.
Well, they've got 4 yards to go now, and the crowd screams for them to go for it.
Well, they have a quarterback back there punting, Danny White. He is thrown from this formation in the past.
I don't
but
think
there's plenty of time.
Odds don't fit. They'll kick.
Have to.
Kevin Miller, and Miller is down at the 14-yard line. As he has done so often, Benny Barnes hustling down to make the stop. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm not gambling with my safety this winter. I just put a CB Radio Shack in my car. At only $89, I save $60. Now, wherever I drive in any kind of weather, I feel safe. This switch is my instant shortcut to Emergency Channel 9. One of 11 front panel features. Sale price realistic CB. I wouldn't drive without it. Now just $89. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
Here's to good friends.
Here he comes.
Tonight is kind of special.
Hey, we almost gave up and sent out for peace. Sorry. All I could get were lobsters and Lowenbrow. All I could get were lobsters and Lowenbrow. Well, it's the last party of the summer. I figured I'd shoot the works.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Well, like the song says, here's to good friends.
The Vikings with a 21-10 lead over the Dallas Cowboys with 9 minutes and 59 seconds remaining in the game. Have the football, 1st and 10. They're at their own 14-yard line. Sammy Johnson remains in the backfield for Minnesota, wearing number 48. Foreman on the sidelines. Sammy Johnson and Randy White attacks.
I'll tell you, give Sammy Johnson credit on that play because he forced the scant yardage that he got. White was in on him like a tiger.
White gets a couple of yards. It'll be second down and 8.
You don't hear Tom brag on anybody too often. And when he does, he usually cuts it kind of close. He had been, but that's Randy White is the guy that he says is just outstanding. Dorsett is over on the sideline. He doesn't play defense.
Whoa! Anthony Johnson gets the call again, and he is really pounded. D.D. Lewis and Jethro Pugh. Pugh straightened him up, and Lewis hit him.
D.D. was in there, charging in, that great veteran.
Yeah, D.D. says, you hold him and I'll get his attention.
There was a loss of about a half a yard. Third and long yardage, a long 8. Ball resting right on the 15-yard line. Every now and then, Tom takes an anxious look up at the clock, which continues to tick away, and Fran will run it right down to the nub. He must get it off in 1 second. He does. Parkinson. Randy White once again, and Minnesota will have to turn it over. Dallas should have good field position.
So we've got another night of football action. It's a special Thursday night edition of Monday Night Football, but this is the way it usually is. Remember the game? Baltimore against New England, 41 points scored in the final quarter. Joe Washington's heroics. Remember this past Monday night, Houston against Pittsburgh. Remember a Sunday night, Steve Grogan in New England against Oakland. This is a replica.
Tony Hill at midfield. Coleman will kick from the 3. Oh, and he hits another bomb that backs Tony Hill up inside his own 40. Now, Hill runs into his own man, and he stopped at the 47-yard line.
But they have field position. They're on their own 47. 7:54 left. They've got the ability to strike quickly. And then, hopefully, kick off. Get the football back again. You know this business, you fans. Dallas is very much alive.
That's all true, but I feel compelled to tell you that this telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, other use of this telecast, up to express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited.
First down, Dallas. They trail by 11. Ball at their own 47-yard line. This is Dorsett. There's a throw the ball. He's got a man open as Tony Hill. And he does not throw it in bounds.
Well, they had the halfback pass. They tried that, and they won't try it again. The next thing they got in their book, the tricks, is a flanker pass. We'll see if Pearson can throw it next time.
I'll tell you,
flicker.
It was a heck of a call.
He does it after turnovers, first downs, tries to get the swing of things going. This is Landry calling the plays. They've got middle screens where they roll out. He's got it all in tonight because he feels he's going to need it. And you know what? He does.
I'll tell you this. We saw the Baltimore Colts do that with Joe Washington, and it resulted in a touchdown pass to Roger Carr. Same play. Roll left.
Second and 10. The ball at the 47.
That's nice.
Right into the arms of Phil Wise.
He got hit when he threw it.
And the ball waffled in the air. And Phil Wise, the man whom we call the gun athlete, I told you how he was drafted in the first instance, who's been playing cautiously off the receiver, but tackling effectively, was right there as the ball waffled into his arms, and that could do it with 7:40 left for the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't believe Roger even saw Phil Wise. Drew Pearson was curling in under another defensive back. Roger put it right into the arms, and that is a tremendous break for the Vikings. They have possession. The ball at their own 47-yard line. Out of trouble. They can now work on the clock. Sammy Johnson with another second effort. Gets to midfield, a gain of 2.5 yards. It'll be second down and 7.
I think Rogers' arm was hit when he threw that pass. There's you see Wise on the side, but I can't tell for sure. It looked like me. I think it was Carl Eller that got in there.
I'll tell you, Phil's had a heck of a game. And if you want to put the game in perspective, turnovers. Dallas 3, Minnesota none. And that's why Minnesota leads with 7 minutes remaining, 21-10.
Tarkenton watches the clock at the end tick down. He'll use it all. In total command, this 18-year veteran hands off to Sammy Johnson. Gets up maybe a yard. It'll be third down. Call it a long 7.
Trying desperately to use the clock. They have not used men in motion as we anticipated in the second half. But Fran knows what he's doing, and he wants to play it secure. Keep control of that football for whatever seconds he can. He knows that there are 6 minutes and 25 seconds left. He's got a clock in his head.
Third down. Fran doesn't like it. Tucker was lined up on the wrong side. I understand why he didn't like it. Ricky Young gets the block by Tucker and gets the first down.
What a big play that was, and what a call. Dallas looking for the pass.
You know, you understand why Tarkenton realized that Tucker was in the wrong spot. He's sweeping to the weak side.
He had the key block.
He had the key block and was on the wrong side of the field.
One of the great things about Fran is that friendship goes by the board. Speaking professionally, that is. And Bob Tucker was one of his best friends, and Fran was influential in seeing that Minnesota got him from the Giants. He'll forget friendship, and he'll say to Tucker, "You blew it, buddy. Get out of my way," if need be.
He better be careful if he says it often, though. Tucker's got a bit of a temper, too. On 1st and 10, Ricky Young gets the call, and the Vikings, sensing that they have pretty much wrapped this game up. They're able to move the ball and work on that clock. We're inside 6 minutes and moving to 5. Ricky Young gets a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Now they're inside of 5 minutes and moving to 4.
It's my turn when they get inside of 4 and moving to 3, okay?
Okay.
Bud Grant, we've talked about Tom Landry, but how about Bud Grant? In his 11th year, he's been in the playoffs 9 of those 11 years, taking his team to the Super Bowl 4 times. Hasn't won the Super Bowl, but he got there, and a lot of people haven't. Ricky Young, met at the line of scrimmage, ekes out a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Just don't want to do anything stupid. You don't want any fumbles. You don't want any interceptions. It's not even that important. You know, I mean, this is a 3rd down and a 5. Just don't turn it over to anything crazy. Go ahead and let it run. You got 2 more shots at the 1st down right here.
And that graphic you just saw, offensive plays, 65 to 46, is still another revealing part of the story of Minnesota's domination of this game.
Inside of 4, moving to 3. I'm sorry, Frank.
Ricky Young. And Young pounded down Jethro Pugh, moving across. Young goes down at the 35-yard line, short of the 1st down, and well, we'll see if Dan Meyer comes out or Coleman, the punting unit or the field goal unit. Coleman, and Minnesota will punt. Clock ticking away. But they'll probably let it tick all the way down, take the penalty. It doesn't make any difference. He'll be going for the out of bounds.
Frank, you talked about Bud Grant. He deserves every accolade tonight. If ever a man prepared his team beautifully for a given opponent, Bud Grant clearly has done that.
In 3 days.
Well, I'm sure it's an experience he had in Canada.
There is the delay of game penalty. It ticked the seconds off the clock. Very important to Minnesota. Here's the 5-yard penalty call.
Delay, offense, 4th down.
Had no effect whatsoever on Minnesota's field position because Greg Coleman still is well within reaching an out-of-bounds area somewhere inside the 20. And as I mentioned before, he led the NFL for Cleveland last year in doing just that. Cowboys go for the block. They don't come close.
And he does.
Oh, and Coleman has hit a beauty.
He nails it.
5-yard line. Coleman, look at him. Picked up a little over a week ago. After being cut by Cleveland, you have a happy youngster. We'll be right back.
Uh-oh. That TV show we want to watch goes on in 5 minutes.
America, stop rushing your life away just to catch a TV show. Get a Sony Betamax video recorder and automatically videotape that show while you're doing something else and watch it anytime you want. Sony Betamax. It could change your whole way of life.
Hallelujah. A totally new C-car. The new Datsun 280ZX. Our road-hugging, heart-pounding, hood-soaring, deck-sloping, fuel-injected masterpiece. Our new ZX is awesome. We are
Nadia Comaneci competes in the most important gymnastics event since the '76 Olympics, Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
2 minutes, 55 seconds remaining in the game, and Greg Coleman, recently acquired by the Minnesota Vikings, has put the Cowboys in a hole. They have a 1st and 10 at their own 5-yard line. They're down 11 points, 21-10. They have to get something quickly, and this is a very difficult spot in which to get something quickly. Going for Drew Pearson, spot pass, and the timing was off.
2 minutes, 51 seconds left in the game.
Crowd voicing their disapproval of Roger Staubach.
Well, we haven't really centered in on the defense of Minnesota. Maybe we should give it more consideration because that is the #1 offense in the NFC that they've been playing against. They've held them to 10 yards. There's been some circumstances that may be a little bit unusual, but they still have played very well.
They have played great defense tonight. 2nd down and 10. Inside handoff, Dorsett. And Dorsett short of the 1st down as he moves out to the 14-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down, call it a long one.
Once again, reverting to Frank's Dunn's pregame interview with Staubach. Roger said we must have a great game from Dorsett. Now the statistics show that Dorsett has not had a great game, but I don't think it's fair to pin that on Dorsett. Pin it, if you will, at least equally on the Dallas offensive line, which has been troubling Coach Landry for the last 4 games.
Seconds ticking away. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. 3rd down and 1. Preston Pearson holds on for the 1st down.
Preston Pearson, whose lawyer called me in New York when I was already in Dallas, wanted Preston to come on because Preston was upset, just to show you the inner workings of a football team, over the fact that he would be benched and Dorsett would be back.
His lawyer?
Yes.
Did he think
you
were...
they're fancy in football today, aren't they?
Yeah. How were you going to get him in there?
You keep Dorsett on the bench, which Coach Landry was not disposed to do, nor would I be.
Well, why didn't he call Landry instead of you, is what I'm saying.
He wouldn't have gotten an answer.
1st and 10. Closing on the 2-minute warning. Staubach going for Tony Hill, and he is in trouble and can't find him. Down he goes. Mark Mullaney all over Staubach, and that is the 2-minute warnings. Both benches will be notified. They don't need to be notified, particularly Dallas. They are in trouble. We'll be right back.
Stanley presents the Cube, a simple solution to a lot of storage problems.
Okay, Preston Pearson, 26, a great player. Let's get this play first. I want to amend what I just said.
2nd down and 10. Cowboys, desperate trouble. Tony Dorsett, give him an open field and look out. And he has not seen many openings tonight. He gets the 1st down, however.
So there can be no misconception. And I was relying on hearsay. My secretary advised me today that Preston's lawyer, 26, had called her, as we look at this play,
On 1st and 10, Staubach again to the air, in and out of the hands of Preston Pearson.
Preston still figures in the action, and the lawyer had asked if we wanted to put Preston on the air in this game to express his views of the Dorsett incident and of his being benched. Now that's the message I got. I want to be absolutely clear and specific about that. But this is a great football player, and if he feels he should be in there, you can understand.
2nd and 10, the ball at the 29. 1:30 now on the clock. Dallas in danger of falling a half game behind the Washington Redskins. The Vikings back in the thick of the hunt in the Central Division of the NFC. Picked off, Bobby Bryant.
Turn out the lights, the party's over.
Roger Staubach makes the tackle, but Bobby Bryant is just about finished. Any hopes Dallas had of pulling this one out?
Well, it was over as Don is singing, not just now, but before this. And this Super Bowl champion Dallas team has now lost 3 games out of 9. And in the interests of fair and accurate reporting, they were fortunate indeed to get past St. Louis twice, winning once in overtime after St. Louis had missed a field goal. And they had a tough time with Philadelphia. And the coach has to take a good hard look at this team and somehow get them emotional and intense again.
And this man, Fran Tarkenton, has pulled off a tremendous game plan. They had a great defensive effort as we watch Ricky Young working on the clock now. Dallas will try to stop it, hoping for possession again. They call timeout. They have 2 timeouts remaining, 1 minute and 9 seconds on the clock. But Francis having another great night, and he's been doing it since 1961. He is a very special football player.
Why are truck shoppers everywhere deciding on Datsun?
It's going to pay for itself in 2 years.
They're fantastic as far as gas mileage.
The money I'm saving on gas alone will do it.
Minnesota out of the huddle, 2nd down and 8. They care nothing about the score. They are working on the clock. Chuck Foreman back in the game, gets to the line of scrimmage, very carefully holds on to the football because the second Cowboy to attack is going to be after the ball. They call timeout, stopping the clock once again. There's Bobby Bryant that sealed the fate of Dallas, at least for tonight. Gives us an opportunity to remind you about college football coming your way on Saturday. Regional action all over the country. 1:30 Eastern and Pacific, 12:30 Central. Colorado against Missouri, a big rivalry there. Those two teams really get with it. They both have the same records, 5-2. Arizona State goes against Washington. Arizona State, of course, upset victors over USC. They are ranked 12th in the nation. Washington, of course, last year's Rose Bowl victors over Michigan. Then we have Purdue versus Iowa. Purdue leading the Big Ten. Florida goes against Georgia Tech. Clemson against North Carolina State. Holy Cross against Brown. Regional college football. It's a lot of fun. Be with us on Saturday. Of course, Monday night we'll be in Atlanta. The Los Angeles Rams against the Atlanta Falcons.
And that's not going to be easy for the Rams. Now, there's the graphic on Fran Tarkenton tonight. He has been absolutely brilliant.
He didn't throw 40 passes.
No, he did not. He cut back when it was right to cut back. He said, we'll run some, and he ran some.
1 timeout remaining for Dallas. Foreman stopped short of the first down, hit by Bob Brunig.
Well, you saw the graphic on Foreman. He gained more yards on the ground than the whole Dallas team. And Roger Staubach had told Don, we've got to get the ground game going. And incidentally, Frank, Dallas's remaining schedule isn't that easy. They're at Miami with Greasy, at Green Bay, which is tough this year. New Orleans at home, Washington at home, New England at home, and the Pats with a great football team. Then at Philadelphia, a tough football team. They wind up at Shea Stadium, and the Jets are nobody's chumps, not this year.
4th down now for Minnesota. Minnesota, of course, next week will be at home against Detroit. They also play Chicago, San Diego, Green Bay, Philadelphia, Detroit, and Oakland. So their row is not too smooth either. No field goal attempt. That could be blocked and taken in for a touchdown. 55 seconds on the clock, and Chuck Foreman gets the call. Spins to the inside. He has the first down.
I think that's fine.
He's now gone over 100 yards rushing. He's caught 5 for 33 yards. This is what the standings will look like in the NFC East. And yes, it's all changed in the National Football League. And that's what they'll look like in the NFC Central. And Minnesota is still breathing, and they're not about, as I said, to knuckle under. But that's the kind of year it's been in the National Football League this year. The very point we tried to make during the halftime. Scrambled standings. Nobody a sucker. Look at the measurement. First down.
39 seconds on the clock. Great tribute to a fine coaching job with 3 days to prepare, changing basically your entire offense, coming in with a spread formation, moving men around. That confuses the Cowboys. It really does. They reacted as any team would with the blitz in the first half. Tarkenton is very difficult to blitz because he always keeps a checkoff man. When they would blitz, he'd dump it off for 3 or 4 yards. So, Fran Tarkenton, another great night. Foreman.
I think I'd say Foreman. He's done his work tonight. I'd give it to somebody else. Rest him up.
Fran is heading for the barn. Says, come on, guys, this is over. Final seconds ticking away. And Dallas goes down to defeat 21-10 on a superbly played game and called by this man, Fran Tarkenton. Once again, the final score, Minnesota 21, Dallas 13. Brother Dallas 10. Be sure to join us this Monday for ABC's NFL Monday Night Football at 9 Eastern Time. The Los Angeles Rams against the Atlanta Falcons. Saturday, be with us for an exciting afternoon of sports coverage, beginning with NCAA college football at 1:30 Eastern Pacific, 12:30 Central Time, featuring regional coverage of 6 top games. Then ABC's Wide World of Sports at 5 Eastern and Pacific, 4 Central Time, featuring the World Gymnastics Championships via satellite from Strasbourg, France. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United built the largest airline in the free world around you. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
Thursday, a small-time loan shark puts the squeeze on the 12th precinct.
Kids, they say the darndest things.
Barney Miller. Then Carol's father is the last to know.
The princess is going to marry the queen.
And Chester is the first to remember on Soap.
1 week from tonight.